ESPN's Ed Werder's reporting the Cowboys have concerns after the free agent receiver's physical that his recovery from a torn ACL has not progressed enough to ensure that he'd play before mid-January. There is a chance that no team signs Beckham for this season, believes our Chris Canty.
If Jerry and the Cowboys decide not to do the deal, then I have serious doubts that Odell can help anybody this season and impact their playoff chances or their title aspirations.
OBJ's met with the Giants, Cowboys, and Bills. The Titans with a major change to their front office. They fired GM John Robinson 2 days after they were routed by Philadelphia, a game in which receiver A.J. Brown, traded to the Eagles by the Titans in the offseason, had 2 touchdowns. Team owner Amy Adams-Strunk said she thinks the Titans have made significant progress, but there is more to be done and higher aspirations to be met. Eagles defensive end Robert Quinn headed to IR with a knee issue. He'll miss at least the next 4 games. Round of 16 at the World Cup today. Portugal defeated Switzerland easily 6-1 to advance to the quarterfinals of the tournament.
Coming up on Wednesday, does the road to the Super Bowl go through Kansas City? I'll explain why maybe not so fast, my friend. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Mac, Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
And off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
You're a loser, Matt!
Shut up, kid. Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Musso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Make it a good one. Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off. Just turn it off. I was going to try to not be in a mood today, but that's just not going to happen. I am what I am. There's a guy who texted me last night who said his name is Shane. I can't even pronounce it. It's a million letters. Starts with a G. He said, please go all red face Italian Matt tomorrow on the Saints. I didn't want to do that. I really don't want to do that. Some of y'all think it's an act when I do that. It's not. It's just I intend to have a measured approach and give you insightful commentary when and where applicable. But I'm emotional. I'm a fan. Love the team. Been a fan my entire life. Never hide that. And I try to be impartial in my analysis. And I was really sitting today at my desk and giving a lot of thought as I was prepping today for how I wanted to approach today, because I don't want to be part of an echo chamber. I don't like that in sports media. It's the worst thing about sports media is when people just parrot other things they hear from other people without actually allowing for independent thought. I hate that. And so I thought a lot today about how I can say something that's different than what everybody else is saying. And I was going to try to be measured. I'm standing out in the hallway, and Musso walks up, and the second I open my mouth, I just go into this like expletive-laced tirade about how I want to punch Dennis Allen in the face. I am who I am, okay? I don't really want to punch Dennis Allen in the face. He seems like a very nice man. I'm sure he's a very good man as well. But I'm fed up. I'm over it. I'm completely over it. I'm pissed off. I've reached my end. The only good thing about the Saints gagging away that game on Monday Night Football is it's one more nail in Dennis Allen's proverbial coffin as the Saints head coach. I don't know how you come back from this now. You go into the bye, maybe they fire him now. Probably not. Probably wait it out for the rest of the season. But my God, have you seen the freaking probability chart? Have you looked at the probability chart from last night's game? With 3 minutes to go and the Saints up 13 points, it's like 100% Saints win probability. And then, impossibly. I don't even know how this could even possibly happen when you look at the probability chart. Look, pull it up, Paul, if you want. Here it is. Here's the probability chart. The Saints at this point in the game were like at 100% probability. They were right at 100% probability. Like, I can't even make it get that close. It was just it's like they're going to win the game. They're like 100% probability right here. It's at 97.6%. It's at 97.6% when the Saints had 1st and 10 at their own 35-yard line. And somehow they piss it away. And I know how. It's because there's no fire in this team. There's no fight. Nobody gets in anybody's face. Nobody cares. It's because you have a substitute teacher at the front of the room. Yes, players have to make plays, y'all. Players have to make plays. Of course, that is a reality in this. They're professional football players. They're paid. Chris Olave dropped the ball deep in Bucs territory that would have netted the Saints at least a field goal. First drop of the season, bad time for it. Mark Ingram, with about 6 minutes to go, is running to the sideline. All he has to do is take one more step forward. He gets the first down. The Saints can chew up at least 2 more minutes off the game clock. He goes out of bounds a yard short. Well, he was hurt. Shut up! Get a half a yard. You're running at the sticks. You've been in the league for a decade. Get the first down. Jarvis Landry. I love Juice. Probably my favorite LSU player ever. Dalton actually put a nice ball on him. He had to make sort of a one-handed catch, but soft hands, we've seen Jarvis do it a million times. Couldn't come up with it. Scores on the play. They get a field goal instead. 3rd and 17, play over the middle. Tough catch for Taysom. He got popped by 2 guys. Could have had it, didn't. Guys got to make plays, they didn't. But when a team consistently makes losing plays, you play for a losing coach with a losing mentality. And that's Dennis Allen. I saw this on Twitter earlier today from a guy named Jeff Asher, who runs an account which is Crimealytics. He says he's a former FBI guy. He's got a verified account for whatever that's worth now. He could have paid for the blue check. I don't even care. He's the co-founder of AH Datalytics from New Orleans. Anyway, seems credible. The guy's freaking in the FBI. Said facing 4th and 1 or 2 while tied or leading. Again, so short yardage situations, 4th down, 1 and 2, tied or leading. Sean Payton, over the last 3 years, 2019, 2021, went for it 20 of 23 times. Went for it. 4th and 1 or 2, tied or leading. Sean Payton went for it 20 of 23 times. Dennis Allen's faced that situation 5 times this year. He's kicked 5 field goals. He is not confident enough in himself, his team, his ability to make tough calls in tough spots, so he takes the road less traveled. Or excuse me, he takes the easy path out. He's not a leader. Great defensive coordinator. Really good defensive mind. Flummox Tom Brady. You held Tom Brady and the Bucs to 3 points over 57 minutes. Think about this. You held the greatest quarterback ever on the road to 3 points over 57 minutes, and you lost the game. Why? Because you have a weak head coach who keeps kicking short field goals over and over again. Won't go for it. And then you punt twice in Tampa territory. Go win the game. How about after Tampa scored? So Mark Ingram skirts out of bounds because he's Mark Ingram. I'm going to talk more about him later. I've tweeted something about him being a losing player, and a lot of y'all didn't like that on Twitter. I'm getting to that later. For sure getting to that. And some of y'all ain't going to like when I say it now, but you will have to stare truth in the face and disagree with fact. Mark Ingram runs out of bounds. So you give them the ball, 44-yard penalty because of a PI. They score. Now it's 13-10 or 16-10. You get the ball back. Hey, let's go milk some clock. What do you do? First down. Run it. Timeout. Second down. Oh, this will trick them. Let's bring everybody in tight and go to a one-receiver route and run play action on it. Who's the one receiver? Kurt Merritt, the guy who just was activated yesterday. Not your first-round pick, Chris Olave, not Jarvis Landry, not anybody that might actually strike fear into that defense to make you think you're going to throw it to him. They put Kurt Merritt out there. And Andy Dalton gets sacked. How about the 3rd and 1 play after Mark Ingram skirted out of bounds? You're on a quick slant to Marquez Callaway. You realize he hadn't been active since the Rams game? Not Jarvis, not your first-round pick, Chris Olave, not a run with Taysom Hill. No, let's throw a slant to Marquez Callaway. That's the ticket. Yep, that's the ticket. Losers, man. Losers make losing decisions and losing plays. It's why you lose games. Again, I'm not calling these people losers as human beings. Don't misunderstand me. I'm talking about from a leadership standpoint, Dennis Allen has a losing mentality. He is not a winner. He is not aggressive enough. He's not confident enough in his ability to, or his team to go make plays to go win games. That's why, as a head coach, Dennis Allen is 12-37. That is fact. That is data. It's what it is. Dennis Allen is 12-37 as a head football coach in the NFL. He is not a winner, and he never will be. And if there's one positive after watching that last night, which makes you want to throw up, not in your mouth, but projectile vomit at your television, even for a team that was 4-8, and knowing if you just finish that game, you're one game out of first place in the loss column going into your bye, and Tampa's got to go play San Francisco. You could be coming out of your bye with a chance to be the division leader. But instead, you can't make enough plays to go win a stinking game that you dominated with a win probability with 3 minutes left is at 97%, and somehow you lose it. Do you realize, I saw this on SportsCenter last night, as far as probability, last night, the only game in his career that Tom Brady has won where the win probability was less was the 28-3 game of the Super Bowl. It's the only one. The good news is the Bucs put the Saints out of their misery. The Bucs put this Saints season out of their misery. Even at 4-8, we were legitimately still sitting here going, well, win tonight, you're a game out of first in the loss column. Now that's over. It's over. You got 4 games to play. You have to win out. The Bucs would have to lose out. It ain't happening. You're done. You're done. And now that the Saints have been put out of their misery, it is time for Gayle Benson to put Dennis Allen out of his misery as the Saints head coach. It is over. If Dennis Allen is back as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints next year, that would show an egregious lack of vision and direction for this organization. We saw Mrs. Benson do it with the Pelicans, with Stan Van Gundy after 1 year. It's time. And again, this isn't hindsight being 2020, y'all. I am sitting here telling you that I understood when they hired Dennis Allen what they were doing, and I was okay with it. Hey, look, great run of success. Let's keep the culture. Let's keep the foundation. You keep Pete Carmichael. You keep Dennis Allen. I get it. I got what they were doing. I got it. It made sense. It didn't work. And now it's over. It's over. Cut bait, move on. And whoever you hire next is going to take this job knowing full well they have a rebuild on their hand, much like Sean Payton did when he inherited a team after the Katrina year in 2005 when they were 3-13. Understanding what he was walking into, and that's what the next coach will do. They're not inheriting a team with a great roster and a cap situation. Quarterback, it's bad. It's a bad situation. Whoever takes his job is taking a bad job. But whoever it is going to have the opportunity to prove they can win, because Dennis Allen's already proven he can't. And if that wasn't bad enough, Jack Bech entered the transfer portal, so now I get to talk about that too. It's After Further Review, brought to you by Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. You want to cheer me up? Give us a call at Hudco. 364-1007, 364-1007, or HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Go to Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. You can fill out the contact form right there on the homepage if you'd prefer, or you could always call us at 364-1007, 364-1007. That's Hudco Roofing. Roof repairs, roof replacements. We are locally owned, locally operated, using Louisiana products. Real people in Louisiana answering your calls, helping you out. We'd love to. If it's commercial or residential, repairs or replacements, it's Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing and HudcoRoofing.com. All right, we'll knock out a quick break. We'll talk about Jack Bech going to the portal next.
AFR.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
You can always text the show on the 225-396-4400, 396-4400. I don't know, man. I just have nothing good to say about the Saints at all. There's just nothing good to say about them. So play out the string, figure it out. Man, on Monday, Tigers got great news. Of course, Kayshon Boutte is returning for his senior season. It happened while we were live on the air, so we got to react to it real time. I think there's a lot of people who who questioned Keyshawn, his commitment, a lot of different things about him and his personality. A lot of y'all eating words today. It's a great thing for LSU. A couple of conversations I had last night with scout-type people. There was kind of a belief that Keyshawn had dropped into around 2 or 3 even. Slow start to the year, all that sort of stuff. The production was down. We can discuss why that was. Offense, injuries. He missed a game because of the birth of a child, missed a game due to injury or illness, the UAB game. Whatever it is, at its most basic level, Keyshawn could have gone the Jamar Chase or Derek Stingley route. I'll point out Stingley, who a year ago there were a lot of these same questions, right? Injury, opted out of the remainder of the season with surgery. A lot of those same questions. We talked about, look, Stingley was going to go to the combine. He was going to run a blazing speed. And as soon as Stingley sat down in front of all these teams and told his story, that he would race up draft boards again, because the fan perception of Derek Stingley didn't map to reality. You all thought he was a quitter. Not all of you, but a lot of you thought he was a quitter and quit on his team and all that sort of stuff, which just wasn't the case. The guy had legit medical things that he tried to play through. He tried to play hurt, wasn't up to the level that he was, and that would amounted to a season-ending injury that he had surgery to allow him to go get healthy, ready for the combine, and became the number 3 pick in the draft. I think something similar could have happened for Keyshawn this year. I think he could have gotten healthy. He could have gone to the combine, ran a great 40 time, gone talk to teams, explained what was going on with him, all that sort of stuff. And I think he would have raced up draft boards because he's got enough good tape out there. But something I told you that on Monday that is true is Keyshawn loves LSU, and he loves being from Louisiana, and he loves being part of that lineage of great receivers from Louisiana. He loves being considered and wants to be considered in that echelon of Odell and Jarvis and Jamar and Justin Jefferson, dudes from Louisiana who put on for LSU and went on and had a great career afterwards. And so he's going to have an opportunity to come back and potentially help lead LSU to a championship, to the playoff. And I think the perspective or the perception of Keyshawn in his decision to come back changes dramatically. Chris Doering of the SEC Network was on Sirius XM on his SEC radio show and had this to say about Keyshawn's return.
I mean, the Keyshawn Boutte one was one of the most unexpected because there were people talking about him opting out during the middle of this season. So the fact that he's coming back for another year has me not only excited about him, but what must be going on behind the scenes there with Brian Kelly and what he's building and the positivity that's in that locker room.
All of that is true and things we've talked about. The flip side of it is Keyshawn Boutte's decision to return likely influenced Jack Bech's decision to jump into the portal, which happened earlier on Tuesday afternoon. And listen, there were whispers last week, and I think many of you probably heard them, and I think Jack and his family kind of arrived at that decision at some point last week that he was going to put his name in the portal whenever it opened. And after Keyshawn made his announcement yesterday to stay, Jack Bech similarly made the announcement today that he was going to leave. So Jack posted on all of his social media thanking LSU for the opportunity to play the sport that he loves at the university. As he wrote, "I've loved since I could hold a football." He said, "I want to thank everyone who believed in me and supported me throughout my journey here. In every stage of life, there's change, and I feel that my opportunity to grow as a player is elsewhere. This has been the hardest decision I've ever had to make, and a lot of thought and prayer has gone into my decision. With that being said, I'm entering my name in the transfer portal." So Jack Bech, after 2 seasons in Baton Rouge, is entering the portal. That's going to sting for a lot of LSU fans. Jack was a very, very popular player. He's a Louisiana guy. He kind of had the reputation of being hard-nosed. He would go make that tough catch, strong runner, physical player. And, yeah, even look, the shirts, the Bech, I'm from Louisiana. I think there's few players that did a better job marketing themselves through NIL and cashing in on NIL opportunities than did Jack. So he just was a very popular player. But I think something that this decision illustrates is, whenever this coaching staff came in, there were no loyalties to anybody that had been here. It was a truly clean slate for everybody coming in to make your best opportunity, to make the most of your opportunity. And for Jack, the unfortunate part is, back in camp, he suffered a couple of injuries. He had the stress fracture of his shins. I I don't mind saying this now, I was told Jack also sidelined for a portion of camp with a concussion. And that's why you just didn't see him out there for a lot of fall camp. So he was slow to come back from those injuries of no fault of his own. But you're talking about other guys getting those reps and getting an opportunity to show their coaches what they had. And so Jack kind of got passed in the pecking order. And when he came back, they tried to get him back on the field. Of course, they did put him back there to return kicks and punts. He muffed the kickoff against Tennessee, as we saw. And, they lost that opportunity. So you just saw a situation where a really, really good player, a very talented player, lost reps, got passed by some guys due to no fault of his own. And then when he had the opportunity, didn't really maximize it. 16 catches for 200 yards for Jack this year of the one touchdown. But guys like Malik Neighbors made the most of the opportunity. Malik led LSU with 63 catches and 854 yards this year. And so you can look ahead if you're Jack Bech and you realize, okay, well, Kayshon Boutte's returning, Malik Neighbors is returning, Brian Thomas is back. Just as far as pass catchers, Mason Taylor had a good year with 33 receptions. He's back. Kyron Lacey could return. Kyron Lacey had 22 catches. For comparison, Kyron had 22, Jack Bech had 16. You're going to get Chris Hilton back off of injury. And then when you look at the signing class that's coming in, when you got a 5-star like Shelton Sampson, is the highest rated player in your class right now, you can just realize how it's going to be harder and harder to get targets. So it makes sense for Jack at this point. You can understand why he is looking ahead to his future and where the opportunity is going to be. So you wish him all the luck in the world, man. Jack's a good guy, a true LSU Tiger. I think there was a lot of people that were looking forward to that St. Thomas More connection, right, with Walker Howard throwing passes to Jack Bech, which we saw tear up the high school ranks for years in Louisiana. And we're really excited to see that transition here to LSU. You had the two had the opportunity to play together, but it looks like that's not going to happen as Jack has entered the transfer portal. And I know the obvious question that a lot of people are going to ask is, okay, well, who's next and who else might it be? And I think, the good thing for LSU right now is the program is just in a dramatically different space than they were a year ago, where, the exodus came like it's happening now at Florida or right now at Texas A&M. Do you realize there's 24 Florida players that from the start of the season have either entered the portal or declaring for the draft? 24 on an 85-man roster. It's incredible. The attrition there. A&M's got a dozen guys in the portal. Like toxic situations where guys are leaving. That's what LSU was a year ago. Right now, you got guys who are committed to building upon this foundation. Guys coming back instead of jumping to the portal. So you're gonna have guys who are buried on the depth chart at their position. And every year there's natural attrition. I mean, you've got to have guys that either go pro or transfer, medically retire, or whatever it is. But you're always going to have that every year because you have roster turnover and you're going to bring in a new crop of players. So you expect that. But the guys that you're expecting would enter the portal from LSU are guys buried down the depth chart on the offensive line, maybe in the secondary. Jack might end up being the most high-profile LSU player that enters the portal in this cycle. We're going to watch and see what happens at quarterback. And obviously both Jaden Daniels and Garrett Nussmeier have decisions to make. But a dramatically different reality for LSU right now than a year ago. And I think I speak for everybody just wishing Jack Bech well in whatever is next and wherever he lands for the next phase of his career. All right, it is After Further Review, brought to you by the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020, 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. Remember, Williamson does have gift cards as well. So if you want to give someone the gift of LASIK this Christmas or this holiday, give them a gift card to the Williamson Eye Center. 924-2020 or WilliamsonEye.com. That's WilliamsonEye.com. I'll continue to remind you, if you have HSA or FSA dollars, you can use those on refractive procedures, on vision correction surgery. But you got to use them because they expire before at the end of the year. So you got to use them. So go for that consultation with Dr. Blake Williamson. Do what I did. Go for the consultation. Get on a surgery schedule. Get that done before the end of the year. 924-2020, 924-2020, or WilliamsonEye.com. All right, it's After Further Review. We're glad to have you hanging out with us here. So we're going to go around the SEC. The Heisman finalists have been announced. Obviously, everyone is beside themselves. Well, most people. That Hendon Hooker was snubbed. I have my feelings on that. That's coming up later this hour. I did mention in the show open today when we were talking about the Saints, I mentioned Mark Ingram going out of bounds, and he's been roundly criticized for that decision. If you didn't see the game, there was a point in the fourth quarter with about 6 minutes to go. The Saints had 2nd and 1, or excuse me, they had a second down play, and Mark Ingram was scampering toward the sideline. He went out of bounds about a half yard short of the sticks and he was injured. All he had to do was just take another half step, and he gets the first down. Instead, the Saints had a 3rd and 1. They did not convert. They punted, and that's when the comeback for Tom Brady and the Bucs began. And a lot of people criticized Mark Ingram, and my point on Twitter was he's made losing plays like that his entire career. And there were a lot of people who didn't like that. They clapped back at me on that. And in 30 minutes to start hour number 2, I'm going to validate that more than just a 10-word tweet. I'm going to talk more about that. Some of you heard me talk about this over the years, but I am going to go deeper into that coming up to start hour number 2. All right, it's after further review. Let me knock out a quick break. We'll go around the SEC next. And the all SEC teams are out. We'll tell you which LSU players were honored. That's next on AFR.
AFR.
Christmas trees, Christmas trees, Christmas trees. Clegg's Nursery has a great selection of Christmas trees. Get by any of the 4 Clegg's Nursery locations and get that Christmas tree today. Siega near Airline, LA 16 in Denham, Mid-City on Donmore, and the Garden Center on Greenwell Springs. There is nothing quite like the feeling, the look, the smell of a real Christmas tree in your home around the holidays. So get by Clegg's today. I can tell you, I was talking to the folks over at Clegg's earlier today. They still have a great selection of trees. So even now on December the 6th, you're 19 days away from Christmas. It's not too late. Go by Clegg's, get your tree. They've got lights as well, great Christmas decor. If you want poinsettias, nobody has a better selection of poinsettias with all the different varieties than Clegg's Nursery. All your indoor and outdoor Christmas decor, they have it at Clegg's Nursery. And, of course, gift cards are a great stocking stuffer. Buy local, shop local at Clegg's Nursery.
We get it done with strength, commitment, dedication, grit.
We get it done with passion for our fans
and love for our community.
We are the Tigers.
Get it done.
Let the values of the purple and gold be in your starting lineup this season. And as always, get it done.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you were born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, the coaches All-SEC team has been announced, and there is a quartet of LSU players that have been honored. B.J. Ojulari is the only first-teamer that LSU had, which is admittedly a little odd. And I'll put it to you this way, and this is always my approach whenever we talk about all-conference teams or all-American teams or anything. If you think someone else should be on, then you have to say, okay, well, who are you taking off? And that's always kind of the complicated thing. So if you run through and you say, well, Harold Perkins should be on. Okay, well, who are you taking off? Are you taking Drew Sanders off the all-conference team? I don't think so. So that's the complicated thing. But B.J. Ojulari was a first-teamer, and then there were 3 second-teamers. Will Campbell, second-team All-SEC. Harold Perkins, second team, and Mekhi Wingo, second team. And, of course, the impressive thing about that is that all 3 guys are freshmen. Now, Mekhi Wingo, of course, would be a redshirt freshman, but incredible that Will Campbell, as a true freshman, was named second team, not freshman, second team all-conference as a starting left tackle. That's remarkable. I mean, I would certainly expect, and he has been, both Will Campbell, Emory Jones, and also Harold Perkins are on everybody's freshman All-America team. I know that we've seen PFF put out their freshman All-America team, and you're seeing a ton of those come out. Like earlier today, College Football News put out their freshman All-America team. Will Campbell, Harold Perkins, both named first-team freshman All-America. Emory Jones was third-team freshman All-America. So, you expect these guys to be on the freshman All-America, freshman All-Conference team, but Will Campbell to be named second-team All-Conference at offensive tackle is an incredible hat tip, an incredible acknowledgement of the success he had as a true freshman and his ability to just flush and then hold his own out there as a left tackle. Started every game for LSU at left tackle as a true freshman. Forgive me, he was injured for 1 game this year that he didn't start. But, I mean, incredible for Will Campbell on this season. Also, the AP has so that was the coaches, the AP's all-SEC team. B.J. Ojulari, first team. Harold Perkins, first team all-SEC from the Associated Press. And Mekhi Wingo, second team all-SEC. And the Wingo of all those is the most surprising. B.J. Ojulari, I think we expected, as a highly thought of prospect to go out and have this type of season. Perkins was a 5-star and a top 10 player in the country. Wingo is the surprising one. I mean, a guy who transferred in from Missouri after a year and, was really just thought to be a depth rotational piece, but how integral was he this year, considering first defensive series you lose Mason Smith, who, remember, we were talking about Mason Smith in fall camp as not the best defensive lineman or the best defensive player, but the best player on your team. Everyone who talked about Mason Smith this year or talked about this LSU team, it was, okay, well, who's the biggest impact guy, who's going to become the household name? Unanimously, it was Mason Smith. He was unblockable when we got to go watch him in fall camp. I remember there was a scrimmage we got to watch out on the outdoor practice facility, and the offense had gotten into a goal-to-go situation, and on 3 consecutive plays, Mason Smith blew it up, and 2 of them he got sacks. It was just incredible. And to lose him after 1 series, and then to see Mekhi Wingo step up the way he did was unexpected, to say the least, but he's deserving of all these honors. Wingo had 44 tackles on the season, 4 tackles for loss, 2 sacks, 4 pass breakups, 4 quarterback hurries. He forced a fumble. He was just all over the place. A guy that, was a dominant interior player for you when you had to have somebody step up. He did. So congrats to all those guys that were honored, and we'll continue to see more and more of these honors as the week goes along here, as the postseason honors start to roll in. All right, it's after further review. Going to go around the SEC in just a second. I want to remind you about South Point Volkswagen and SouthPointVW.com. New, certified, pre-owned in Baton Rouge and online at SouthPointVW.com, SouthPointVW.com. You can get your Volkswagen with many different options, but all of them have the feel of luxury. The style, the feel, the performance of luxury, the great German engineering without the cost. And remember, they're manufactured right here in the USA at their Chattanooga, Tennessee plant. So even when you buy a Volkswagen, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're getting the great German engineering, and you're supporting American jobs. You're supporting the U.S. economy. It's at South Point Volkswagen, Louisiana's largest volume Volkswagen dealer. Get online to SouthPointVW.com. You want to see the vehicles, you can. You can see pictures of the actual vehicle that's on the lot over at South Point Volkswagen at Airline just north of Highland. So get to the website at SouthPointVW.com. For South Point Volkswagen, what's your direction? Okay, we do it every day about this time. Let's go around the SEC.
Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products, excellence in imaging solutions. The Arkansas Razorbacks.
Linebacker Drew Sanders will forego his senior season. He'll enter the NFL draft. He is not expected to participate in the Liberty Bowl. Led the team with 103 tackles, which was third in the SEC. 13.5 TFLs, that was second in the conference. 9.5 sacks, also second in the SEC. Currently ranked the 39th best prospect on ESPN's big board and the number 2 inside linebacker.
The Auburn Tigers.
Wesley McGriff is returning to Auburn for a third stint on the Tigers coaching staff. McGriff spent this past season as Louisville's co-defensive coordinator. He had previously been at Auburn in 2016 and then during the 2019 and 2020 seasons under Gus Malzahn. He was hired by Hugh Freeze as co-defensive coordinator at Ole Miss prior to 2017, but of course Freeze was fired in that offseason, so they never coached together, but they'll have the opportunity to do so now on the Plains. McGriff's been at Louisville, Florida, Auburn, Ole Miss, Vanderbilt, Miami, Baylor, and Kentucky.
The Alabama Crimson Tide.
Remember this name, 5-star offensive tackle Tommy Brockermeyer, the number 2 prospect in the ESPN 2021 ESPN 300. He's among the Alabama players who've now entered the transfer portal. He was the number 1 offensive tackle prospect in the country, but redshirted as a freshman, played just sparingly in 2022. His twin brother James intends to remain with the Crimson Tide. Also, JoJo Earl, former longtime LSU commit, has entered the transfer portal as well.
The South Carolina Gamecocks.
South Carolina tight end Jaheim Bell has hopped in the portal, caught 25 passes for 231 this year. Also was a key rusher for Carolina, 73 rushes for 261 yards as a tight end. Jaheim Bell entering the portal. Austin Stogner, another tight end who transferred in from Oklahoma. He's in the portal, as are Joey Hunter and Darrell Ware.
Texas A&M!
A&M linebackers Andre White and Terrion Lee announced that they are entering the portal. White was injured, played just 7 games this year. Lee played in only 8 games this season. White was a 4-star prospect, the 18th best linebacker in the country. Lee redshirted back in 2019 and saw minimal action the next couple of seasons. The exodus from College Station continues.
The Florida Gators.
Florida outside linebacker Lloyd Summerall has jumped into the portal. Summerall isn't as significant as the number is. He's a 6'5", 231-pounder. He was a 4-star prospect, but played 12 games a year ago, and this season didn't see much action at all. But Summerall becomes the 24th Florida Gator to either transfer, declare for the draft, or be dismissed from the program. Billy Napier has a massive roster rebuild on his hands this offseason.
The Kentucky Wildcats.
And Kentucky earned a commitment from Ohio wide receiver Ardell Banks, 6'4", 180-pounder. He chose Kentucky over Arizona State, Cincinnati, Wisconsin, Pitt, and of course had Kentucky in the mix as well. He is the nation's 102 wide receiver for the 2023 class. All right, there you have it. That is Around the SEC, presented by Gulf Coast Office Products. Shout out to our guy Trey Beal and our friends at Gulf Coast Office Products online at gcopnet.com. gcopnet.com for Gulf Coast Office Products. Face-to-face sales, service after the sale. That's what you get at Gulf Coast Office Products. Again, check them out online at gcopnet.com, the official office equipment provider the LSU Tigers, the New Orleans Saints, the New Orleans Pelicans, and the ULL Raging Cajuns. Gulf Coast Office Products. All right, it is after further review. I do want to talk about Mark Ingram in about 15 minutes from now to start hour number 2. When we come back, the Heisman finalists were announced last night. There are 4. By now you know the names, who is going to be in New York City for the Heisman presentation this weekend. And much of the college football loving world took to Twitter to express their displeasure. I'd like to talk about that when we return. Glad to have you aboard with us here on a Tuesday edition of AFR. Don't you move.
AFR. It's a raving fan shout-out. Presented by Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty.
Darren is the best in the business. He helped with our big home that was complicated by the fact that not many big homes are sold in our parish. His advice was priceless. Can't say enough how much we appreciate his marketing skills and attention to detail. Another 5-star review at Rate My Agent for Darren James & Associates, brokered by eXp Realty. I've told you my experience with Darren over the years. Experience it for yourself. If you need to sell your home, especially in a tricky market right now, let Darren James help you. There's a reason he's on the Wall Street Journal's list of the top 1% of realtors in America. That's not opinion. That's based on production. It's Darren James. 335-7666, 335-7666. That's his cell. Call him right now. 335-7666 or agent225.com for Darren James.
Think real estate, think Darren James.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Auctioner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time.
after further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, we are wrapping up hour number one. The Heisman finalists were announced on Monday, and by now you've probably seen the list. There are four. It's Caleb Williams from Southern Cal, who is the prohibitive favorite. He is actually the betting favorite at minus 2,500, meaning you'd have to bet $2,500 to win 100 on Caleb Williams. So he is an overwhelming favorite to win the award, which we know throughout the years now that when you see, Vegas knows, and there are enough voters who will reveal their ballot, that whenever you see that type of odds, those types of odds on a Heisman campaign, things like that, you know who is going to be selected. So Caleb Williams is going to win the award on Saturday. But the other finalists are C.J. Stroud from Ohio State, Max Duggan, the quarterback from TCU, and Stetson Bennett from Georgia. And before I even start the conversation, I would like to say that it is completely possible to acknowledge several things that are all true. You can put it back here. That are all true. All those guys are fantastic players who had very good seasons. We can acknowledge that. Caleb Williams, I mean, USC was 4-8 a year ago, y'all. They were 4-8. Lincoln Riley and Caleb Williams went in there, and they were a conference championship game away from being in the playoff. What an incredible turnaround. And he's the guy that led it. C.J. Stroud put up some incredible statistics this year in that offense. He had a lot of toys with which to play, but Stroud was very good this year. And, of course, will be in the playoff. Max Duggan, remarkable year. The guy was thrown for 3,300 yards and 30 touchdowns. Led the most improbable turnaround in college football with TCU going 12-0, losing the Big 12 championship game, as we well know. But he willed his team, and I'm glad to see Max Duggan a finalist. And then Stetson Bennett, who threw for 3,400 yards this year and 20 touchdowns, and is the quarterback of the number one team in the country. First of all, I think sometimes there's some confusion about how many finalists there are and all this sort of stuff. Remember, Heisman voters vote for three. They vote for their top three for the award. So while you're only allowed to vote for three, there's no set number of finalists that get invited to New York City, and that's really dependent on the Heisman Trust to make that determination, largely based on how the voting comes in. Usually, depending on the number of players, if there's 3 or 4 or 5 that are all kind of clustered together, they'll all get an invite. And when you see a pretty significant drop-off in the voting is whenever they sort of cut the invite list. Like, if I'm not mistaken, Tyrann Mathieu was a finalist. There were 5 players invited to New York City that year. And Tyrann was a distant 5th, but he had a remarkable season. And it really was a reward to him to be honored and to be invited to New York City. So, the most glaring omission here is Hendon Hooker. And I will tell you that I actually think that it's an embarrassment that Hendon Hooker is not a finalist. He was, for the majority of this season, the best player in college football. And the fact that he got injured in the 11th game of the season should not have hurt him in this voting at all. But it did, because that's what's wrong with voting for the Heisman, and quite honestly what's wrong with sports media in general. It's the thing about this industry that I dislike the most. It's that it's generally a giant echo chamber. You have a lot of lemmings that just follow the lead of everyone. Instead of, and you can look at the Heisman ballot and what it says, you're voting for the most outstanding player in college football. What this has become is people voting for the quarterback of the best team. And you see that. You've got 4 quarterbacks. 3 of them are in the playoff. And the other is the guy that's going to win the award, who, had they not lost the conference championship game, would also be in the playoff. So it's become almost like, hey, I just want to vote for the guy that's going to win it. I really wonder how many Heisman voters actually watch college football. And it's one of the reasons that the voting is divvied up regionally, because you are going to have regional bias based on players that you see. And I'm a guy here in Baton Rouge talking about a guy from from the SEC. And there's some of you who live out west who may say, why isn't Bo Nix there? And I could respect that. But Hendon Hooker was quarterbacking the number one team in the country for a chunk of this season. He threw for over 3,100 yards and 27 touchdowns, and that was without playing for the final game and a half because of injury. And you don't think he would have padded his stats playing against Vanderbilt? I mean, Joe Milton went off against Vanderbilt. But that's what this has become, unfortunately. And I think it's a sham. It's a complete embarrassment that Hendon Hooker isn't in New York City for this. And it's an embarrassment that anybody would include Stetson Bennett on their ballot and not Hendon Hooker. Because the truth is, Stetson Bennett's a fine player and he's a good story. But the Georgia Bulldogs are still the number one team in the country without Stetson Bennett. There's no shot in hell that Tennessee is 10-2 this year and spend part of the year at number one in the country without Hendon Hooker. And it's a damn shame that guy's not going to get the reward of being in New York City on Saturday where he belongs. All right, it's after further review. We'll hit SportsCenter, get you caught up on national headlines. When we come back, I'm going to revisit the Saints, but I'm not going to talk about the game. We'll talk about Mark Ingram. That's coming up next, right at the top of the hour. Stay here.
AFR.
Brought to you by Michelli Weighing and Measurement. Michelli.com. Michelli.com. 29 offices across 11 different states. You know where to find them. You go to Michelli.com. They are our nation's leading distributor of scales. When we talk about Michelli,
team and backed by the one star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Hi, I'm Brandon Landry, founder and CEO of WR.
Hi, my name is Dr. Craig Green.
This is Ryan Terrio with HUDCORoofing.com.
Hey, it's Matt Moscona. No matter how big your commercial roofing job, HUDCO can help.
My patients come to me because they trust that I can get the job done at a high level. Ryan Terrio and Richard Tilley have the same level of trust when it comes to roofing.
If you have a roofing issue, call HUDCO Roofing.
Give us a call, 364-1007, and we'll come to your house and give you a free inspection.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. It's been 8 months since a pack of juveniles incited a riot at the Baton Rouge Juvenile Detention Facility. Their night of terror left an entire wing of the facility damaged. Despite repairs being made, there are now staffing challenges, which limits the amount of bad juveniles the center can take in. We'll tell you what's being done to fix the problem. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news, ESPN's Adam Schefter is reporting 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo does not need surgery on his broken foot, and if his rehab goes well, Garoppolo could return as a potential playoff contributor for the Niners, notes Schefter.
And he has the chance now to be back in 7 to 8 weeks, making it possible
that if the 49ers go on an extended run, they potentially could get Jimmy Garoppolo back later this postseason if they're alive.
Also from Schefter, quarterback Baker Mayfield claimed on waivers by the Rams. There is a chance he plays against the Raiders Thursday night. From ESPN's Ed Werder, the Cowboys have concerns after Odell Beckham Jr.'s physical that the free agent receiver's recovery from a torn left ACL hasn't progressed enough to ensure he'd play before mid-January. The Titans fired GM John Robinson 2 days after that embarrassing loss to the Eagles, in which receiver A.J. Brown, traded by Robinson to Philly in the offseason, scored 2 touchdowns. Round of 16 at the World Cup, Portugal defeated Switzerland 6-1 to advance to the quarterfinals of the tournament.
Coming up on Wednesday, does the road to the Super Bowl go through Kansas City? I'll explain why maybe not so fast, my friend. Keyshawn, J. Will, and Mac, Wednesday morning at 6 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN2.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 2, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. AFR, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
Love you, Matt.
Paul O'Neill.
They're chanting Paul O'Neill's name.
Miso. And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. Get out there and make it a good one. We'll talk some beer with Lee Feinswog in about 15 minutes. That's probably something everybody can agree on. Not Lee, but beer, right? We can do that. Sean Salisbury, 1 hour from right now. Hope you're having a great day. If you weren't here at the start of the show, I was just in a mood. I knew we were opening the show talking about the Saints, and it was one of those things where if you were in my way, you were getting dump trucked. And so I didn't even properly tell you all hello. So thanks to everybody who's watching. Appreciate our audience on WBTR, Cable 19 in Baton Rouge, Rev 144. If you're a cord cutter, 36.1 on the antenna, we appreciate it. Of course, all you watching on YouTube, thanks so much for being there every day. Take a quick second and smash that like button. And if you're not already, please subscribe up to the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. And, of course, if you're listening in Baton Rouge, New Orleans, or Alexandria, we appreciate you all greatly. So last night the Saints lost, and lost in horrible, embarrassing fashion. The Saints led 16-3 with about 3 minutes to go, and blew it. No other way to say it. A long, 44-yard PI call gave Tampa first and goal at the 1. They would score. Saints would go 3 and out. Give Tom Brady the ball back with a couple of timeouts in the 2-minute warning, and he took care of the rest and scored the game-winning touchdown with 3 seconds left. And, of course, Tampa would beat New Orleans 17-16. The Otter had both the under and Saints plus 3.5. So if you're looking for the silver lining, cashed a couple of tickets last night. 2-0 night for the Otter. But there was a play on the previous drive for the Saints before the ill-fated 3 and out, where it was a second down play, and Mark Ingram, who had been injured earlier in the game, and this was his first game back from injury as well. Mark Ingram caught a little screen out the right flat, turned upfield, and went out of bounds. I mean, half a yard shy of the sticks. Devin White was given chase. And Mark Ingram, who's a veteran player, knows better. I mean, he is running right at the stick. Like, he goes out of bounds right at the stick, right at the first down marker. Ball's in his right hand, so it's to the outside, which you'd expect. But even something as simple as just holding the ball out at the marker, get you the first down. Or taking another half step, gets you the first down. Instead, it set up a 3rd and 1, and the Saints decided to run a slant to Marquez Callaway. It was incomplete. It stopped the clock. Saints would punt, and we the rest, as we know, is history. Well, I bring that up because Michael Cobble took the video and tweeted it, and his tweet of the video, which now has 179,000 views, his tweet read, "Mark Ingram losing the game for the Saints," and I quote tweeted him and said, Mark Ingram, he's been a losing player his entire career. And that didn't sit well with a lot of you. And that's okay. I think that, and by the way, I want to be very clear, and the reason I didn't elaborate any further on Twitter is because sometimes it's hard, 280 characters at a time, to try to provide context to things. I'm just lucky enough to have a radio show where I can sit here and talk about things at length and go on the record about how I feel about something. And this is something that if you've listened to this show or watched this show for any length of time, is not going to surprise you because it's not a new opinion that I have on Mark Ingram. I've shared this many times over the years about Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram came on this show last year, and I told him this when he came on this show. I'm not going to sit here and say something to you that I wouldn't say to this man's face. And I want to be clear. I'm not talking about Mark Ingram, the person. It's why I was very, very, very specific in the tweet to say he has been a losing player his entire career. Because I think Mark Ingram's a pretty good guy. I'll tell you, when I first thought, hey, you know what, I'm a Mark Ingram fan as a person, when he won the Heisman Trophy. In 2009, Mark Ingram won the Heisman Trophy, and he gave a tearful, gracious, humble speech. He's been through a lot, obviously, with his dad, who Mark Ingram was a former NFL player, going to prison. And I believe Mark Ingram is a good guy. I believe that. I think he's been a good dude in the locker room, good community guy, all that stuff. I believe. But you can be a good guy and not be a great football player. And here's the thing. And Mark Ingram has been around the league for a decade. He was taken in the first round back in 2011. So he's been around a long time. And if you're running back at 32 years old and you're still getting reps in the NFL, you're a good player. And I understand that. But with Mark Ingram, with respect to this conversation, it's a matter of return on investment. And if you are truly looking at the NFL as a business, then you are looking at the contracts you give players as investments, or the draft picks you spend on a certain player as an investment, and you want to return on that investment. And I'm here to tell you that throughout his NFL career, Mark Ingram has been a bad ROI player. Part of this is not his fault. He didn't make the Saints trade into round one to take him. Remember, 2011, the Saints took Cam Jordan and then traded back into round one to take Mark Ingram. That's not Mark Ingram's fault. But the Saints ended up giving up their 2012 first-round pick and their number 2 pick in 2011, which became the 56th overall pick, which incidentally the Patriots used on running back Shane Vereen. And so the Saints ended up essentially giving up 2 picks, a 1 and a 2, for Mark Ingram. So naturally and immediately, the expectation on Mark Ingram goes up. If Mark Ingram were an undrafted rookie free agent and played in the NFL until he was 32 years old and became the Saints' career-leading rusher, and for his career had rushed for 8,000 yards, we'd look at that and go, what an incredible career. Amazing. But that's not the reality. Better yet, look at Rashid Shaheed. This is a better example. Rashid Shaheed was an undrafted rookie free agent from a small school. And because he's an undrafted rookie free agent from a small school, we look at his production, any production, as impressive, as a win, because you found this guy to the credit of your scouting department. And you found a guy in Rashid Shaheed that's become a good football player for you as a receiver, and as a returner. Had a really nice return in the game on Monday Night Football against Tampa. But if Chris Olave, who you traded back into round one and then traded up, executed 2 first-round trades, in essence, to take Chris Olave. If Chris Olave were sitting here today with Rashid Shaheed's stat line, which is he's played in 8 games out of 13, and he's got 12 catches for 239 yards. For an undrafted rookie free agent, returning kicks and punts, playing in 8 games, having 12 catches for a couple hundred yards, it's incredible. If that was Chris Olave, we'd be going, dude's a bust. And that's the problem with Mark Ingram. Mark Ingram came into the NFL and immediately had fumbling issues and has had pervasive fumbling issues throughout his career, even up until this season, when in the first game against Tampa, you're driving in a tie ball game looking to give yourself some breathing room, and he fumbles in the red zone. That's who Mark Ingram is and has been his entire career. Mark Ingram, as a first-round pick who the Saints used 2 selections on, did not have his 5th-year option picked up. The Saints decided as a 5th-year player, he wasn't worth $5 million. They were committing more to Chris Ivory and Travaris Cadet, undrafted rookie free agents. And then in 2017, drafted a running back in Alvin Kamara, who I think we would all objectively say today has been better in his shorter run as an NFL running back than Mark Ingram has been over a decade. Mark Ingram did not have a 1,000-yard season until 2016. That was in his second contract. During his rookie deal, he played in 16 games once. So he was not durable. He was not productive. He had a fumbling issue. The Saints didn't pick up his 5th-year option. They signed him to a lesser deal, finally had a 1,000-yard season, barely 1,043 yards. And then in 2017, with Alvin Kamara alongside, he had his best season where he ran for 1,100 yards. At that point, he was 7 years into his NFL career. And a year later, the Saints let him walk over pennies to Baltimore, where he played well, complimenting Lamar Jackson. And in the middle of the following season, Baltimore cut him. And then he went to Houston, and Houston traded him back to New Orleans 7 games into the season. And he provided a little bit of a spark a year ago. But this year has been injury-prone, fumble-prone, and really just lacked production because that's what Mark Ingram is. Now, he's been around the league a long time. He knows the Saints organization. The Saints are loyal to guys that know them, as we saw when they brought back Latavius Murray earlier this year. And they've been in need of running backs at times.
Murray, present.
But Mark Ingram is not a great player. He has never been a great NFL player. He's a guy that has lacked productivity, has had a fumbling issue. The Saints have shown when they didn't pick up his 5th-year option that they didn't think he was as valuable as some of the undrafted free agents that they had. And a big part of this is the expectations heaped upon him by where he was taken in the draft and what the Saints gave up to get him. That's ROI. And Mark Ingram has not been a good investment based on the return you've gotten over the course of his career. That's the problem with Mark Ingram. It's always been my problem with Mark Ingram. Serviceable NFL player? Sure. Worthy of 2 picks when you took him in round 1? Nope. Not even close. And the Saints have shown you that over and over again. Because they've never made him a feature player in their offense. Nor should they. Because he's not worth it. And he never has been. And he showed it again last night. As a veteran player with a chance to help his team ice a game, running toward the sticks, and stepping out of bounds a half-yard shy. That's a play that, in essence, cost you the game. Get another half yard. Have the presence of mind to stick the ball out or take another half step. Get the first down. You chew another 2 minutes off the clock. Tampa, at minimum, 2 minutes off the clock. Tampa doesn't have the time to come back. But that's just who Mark Ingram is. It's who he's been his whole career. All right, it's after further review. Talk beer with Feinswog next.
AFR.
AFR is brought to you by the Baton Rouge General Hospital, brgeneral.org, brgeneral.org. I know this show today has not exactly been a shining ray of light and brightness and sunshine in your life. I like to be a positive influence in your life, and I have not been that today. I have been a Debbie Downer, calling for coaches to be fired, talking about how bad former first-round picks are, Jack Bech in the portal. You need to add some cheer to your life, especially this time of year. Go by the Baton Rouge General Hospital. The holiday lights at the Baton Rouge General are sure to cheer you up. It's beautiful. Bring the whole family over to the Baton Rouge General Hospital. The Bluebonnet campus. When you turn off a Bluebonnet onto Picardy, you'll see you can see the holiday lights from Bluebonnet. I mean, you can't miss it, especially at night when it's all lit up and gorgeous. It's brgeneral.org. That's where we can go to get more about like the parking map, what you can expect to see at holiday lights. It's all right there. You can take a stroll through the lighted pathway. Countless holiday sightings and displays for the holiday season. Go check it out at the Baton Rouge General Hospital. brgeneral.org for more info. brgeneral.org.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
My dad just really enjoyed his life, and he enjoyed smoking cigars and thought he was invincible. My stepdad quit smoking, and he really felt like he was in the clear. Sorry. I wish they would have been screened annually. It's not just you affect, it's your entire family.
For more information on Ochsner's free smoking cessation program and to see if you qualify for early lung screenings, visit ochsner.org/quit.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Light beer shouldn't taste like water. Miller Lite has more.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Before we get to Larry Feinstein, there was portal news. Did we shorten it? Feels like we shortened it a little bit.
I did. That's down to 5. That's down to 5 seconds.
5. Okay, I like
better.
it.
Better.
Better.
Okay.
Sure,
all right.
better.
Good.
This courtesy of someone named Chris Hummer, who is a national college football writer and transfer portal writer for 247 Sports. I didn't know they had a transfer portal writer. You know what?
Yeah, write that one down. You got yours?
We're gonna do as long as Otter doesn't take up all the time at the end of the show. We'll do a what we learned today. Demarius McGee, LSU defensive back Demarius McGee has entered the transfer portal. He was the number 192 overall player in the country for the 2021 class. Of course, Demarius McGee, Radarius Jones were the two cornerbacks this year who returned from last year's team, and neither saw the field this year. So probably not surprising there. We'll maybe get the full story. I heard conflicting things as to whether or not they were even those two guys were even eligible this year, but to whatever degree, Demarius McGee, who did not play for LSU this year, is now in the transfer portal. Something expected. Guys who didn't play at depth spots jumping in the portal. So Jack Bech and Demarius McGee announcing today they're entering the portal. All right, now let's talk to Lee Feinswog. How are you, Lee?
Well, I'm fascinated because you said something that made me think about the old days, which you usually don't do. But, okay, so there's a portal reporter, and that's like there were never recruiting reporters back in the day. Like I remember in 1985, I want to say it could have been 86, must have been 85. And I was a sports writer at The Advocate. And they wanted me to go to Gonzales, Louisiana, to cover an announcement by a prep basketball player named Fess Urban where he was going to go to college. And I said, you must be joking. We're going to like cover what a kid says, like where he's going to go to college. And they said, there's going to be jambalaya. And I said, ooh, well, it is the jambalaya capital of the world. And so I went. But at that time, you could never have imagined that you would be covering recruiting and that there would be not only now, like what it is now. I mean, it's an entire industry. I mean, you have people come on your show all the time who that's all they do all the time.
Yeah.
Is tactfully put their nose up the butts of 18-year-olds, their coaches, and their parents, and anything else they can find, you know. And of course, they're the lifeblood.
That's a little rude. Come on now.
It's true.
Okay,
I mean, you just have to, you know, you're totally at their mercy, and then you can court them and wine them and dine them, and ultimately they put it on their own Twitter, have their own press conference with their multiple hats, and say things like, "I'm going to the University of Louisiana State." You know, I mean, I can, you know, but the idea
that
the
University of LSU.
Yeah, well, that too. And there's the idea that now there would be a portal reporter makes so much sense. That's fascinating. So you want a ding?
Why not?
So yesterday I'm talking to a volleyball coach of a university that's still in the round of 16, which starts this week, and he said, "You cannot believe what I've had to do today. I'm visiting with kids in the portal. They're already leaving their old schools. The NCAA tournament season is on, but the regular season's over, and these players are in the portal. So they're not even finished with the NCAA tournament yet, and so I'm sure Brian Kelly and everybody else is doing the same thing. You've got a bowl game to play, but you sure as hell can't lose out on little Jimmy or little Bobby, who's ready to come if they can fill one of your needs. It's the damnedest thing."
Do you have not that this matters because the portal's not going anywhere. Do you have a feeling one way or the other on the portal and the transfer rules and all that stuff?
Oh, you know, Matt, you and I joked about it for years, saying how cool it would be if we could have total chaos in the NCAA just to see what it would be like.
I wasn't joking.
And it's here. Well, yeah, but you could tell me things that kids are doing now that nothing would surprise me. How about Satterfield? The coach leaving the school that's going to play his school in the bowl game.
So for those who don't know, Scott Satterfield, we did talk about it yesterday, it has left Louisville to take the head coaching job at Cincinnati, and those two teams are playing in the Fenway Bowl this year. And the other thing that's odd about that, Lee, is because of the configuration of the stadium, there's only one sideline. So it's basically like split it down at midfield. To the left is one team, to the right is the other. So they're actually going to be on the same sideline.
It's like in those sitcoms, they awkward. I mean, just the whole thing is just so weird. You ever been to Fenway, by the way?
No.
It's an interesting place to watch a baseball game. I cannot imagine that it'd be any fun to watch a football game there, but maybe so.
I do like I like novelties. I think
I'd like to go to the NHL outdoor game one year just to see what it would be like.
Yeah, like I would do that. I say that because I would like to, the novelty of seeing something cool like that. Go to an outdoor NHL game in a football stadium or something, but then I really don't want to go freeze. Like I don't want to go to Buffalo in January on New Year's Day and sit in -8 degree weather. So never mind. I withdraw my interest in seeing that.
I remember visiting
I got an idea. Wait, I got an idea.
Right. Okay,
I'll go.
Get a suite.
If I can sit in the climate-controlled suite.
There you go.
Yep. Or the press box behind a pane of glass that's also climate-controlled.
No doubt. I visited my buddies up in Calgary once in February, and it was legitimate minus 18 Fahrenheit below. And I said to them, how do you guys do this all the time? And they said, oh, you just embrace it. You go snowshoeing, eh? And you go like skiing, eh? And you go out for nice walks, eh? And it's like, you guys are nuts.
That's stupid.
You're nuts.
That's really stupid.
Yeah. Can you imagine covering recruiting, Matt? Can you imagine something as silly as that?
As what?
Covering recruiting. You know?
I think here's the thing about recruiting. I've always described it as a necessary evil. It's the lifeblood of every program. You have to do it and do it well if you're going to succeed at the highest level. So I appreciate very much the guys that do that job because I don't want to do it. Like I don't want to follow that at all.
Oh no, but please don't misunderstand that I'm not saying it's a great beat for the guys who do it well, and I appreciate what they do, and it's so important. And it was probably 20 years late in coming when it finally did happen. You know, it's pretty much in the 90s where it evolved into like real jobs for people. But no, it's but imagine now. What do you do? I don't cover anybody. I'm a portal beat writer.
I mean, but it's look, the number of players jumping in the portal. It's the
word is chock-a-block. All one word.
I was going to say it's overwhelming because it's as much as I try to keep up with certainly LSU, everything LSU related, but even Southeastern Conference related. It's it is overwhelming. It's not possible. So, I mean, I just try to hit the high points. Like if there are notable players that are entering the portal, we'll talk about that. But that's
well, back to your point about the question. What do I think? A more serious answer would be they've got to put some kind of governor on this thing within conferences and for guys, girls, whatever, anybody transferring more than once.
Well, they have.
Yeah. Well, they limited the time period in which they can announce.
Well, no, you can't. You only have a one-time transfer with immediate eligibility option unless if you're a graduate. So
right, but I would not be opposed if conferences said, no, you can't transfer. If you transfer within our conference, like if the SEC said, you can transfer from one school to the other, you won't lose a year of eligibility even against your red shirt. You want to go 6 years for 5 or whatever it's going to be, but you can't play the next year.
No, that's stupid.
I'd be okay with that.
That's stupid. You should be able to go play wherever you want.
Okay.
Why not transfer within the league? Why is it okay to transfer anywhere else but not within the league?
I think it feels to me like there's more tampering, and that's just my perception of it.
Of course there is.
Within the league than there is out of the league.
No. There's always been tampering, though.
Well, of course.
So I like you want chaos. I want chaos. I'm fine with it. I'll say this again. The two people that scream the loudest about this are ardent fans and coaches, even if coaches do it privately. Number one, I don't care if coaches are inconvenienced. If you make millions of dollars, I'm sorry that you have to spend a few more days in December looking at the transfer portal. I don't care. You make a lot of money, figure it out. That's one. Two, fans, you're going to cheer for whoever the hell is wearing your team's uniform regardless. Like, you can't hiss at a player that leaves your school and then celebrate the transfer that you get that makes a big impact. So live with it. Cheer for your team.
That is absolutely correct and phrased wonderfully. I'd give you an imaginary high five.
Well, that's why I do this job,
Well, you're good at it. I tell people that all the time, except usually just not on Tuesdays.
I'm not good at it on Tuesdays?
No, I just don't say it on Tuesdays usually because it's you and me talking. If I got a beer for you,
I'm excited about that.
Get to that part.
Yeah,
this one's just so weirdly different and good.
But you realize on Thursday it's all about whiskey, though. The Calandro's Rare Whiskey Raffle, virtual.
Do you?
Again, right here in the 104.5 ESPN studio on the Watch 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Go pick up your tickets at Calandro's, right? Either Calandro's location. You going to participate? You going to buy some whiskey raffle tickets this year?
Yes. Can you do it online, or do you have to go to Calandro's?
You got to go to Calandro's.
Okay. Well, since I live real close, you got me. I'll go there tomorrow.
All right. All the proceeds. Wait.
Sorry.
Wait. Yeah. All the proceeds benefit the 4Kids Foundation. So Great charitable endeavor as well.
Tell me a whiskey that you drank lately that you really like that was a little new and different.
New and different. Well, when I was in Atlanta, I really like Smoke Wagon, which is distilled in Las Vegas, but it does not. They do not distribute in Louisiana, so you have to go to a state where they sell Smoke Wagon, where it's distributed, and they do sell it in Georgia. So I was able to find a bottle of Smoke Wagon small batch at a place in Atlanta, so I bought it and I drank some of it yesterday. It was very good.
Good for you. There you go. Yeah, we have weird rules with that. I had the opportunity a couple of years ago to score some incredibly great wine from a really nice winery in California. They can't ship to Louisiana. Oh. I had to have it shipped to my friends in Houston and go pick it up.
Oh.
Yeah, it was worth it because it was so substantial, but nonetheless.
Well, now we have talked about whiskey.
That's random.
We've talked about whiskey. We've talked
yes.
about wine.
Yes.
Before we talk about beer, have you watched the LSU basketball team?
No, but I will watch them play Wake Forest on Saturday because that game will teach me something. And should be very entertaining as well.
That is also televised on ESPN by the way, 1 o'clock.
On the U.
1 o'clock, 1 o'clock on Saturday.
It's the only thing on the U that day not, you ready for a regional final for an NCAA tournament in another sport. Get the ding ready. The 4 teams that go to the Final Four in volleyball.
That game between LSU and Wake Forest will be played at State Farm Arena in Atlanta, GA. And while you watch that game, I would imagine you might have a ice-cold beer.
What is the malted liquor? What gets you drunker quicker? What comes in bottles or in cans? Beer. Can't get enough of it. Beer. How we really love it. Beer. Makes me think I'm a man. Beer. I could kiss and hug it, but I'd rather chug it. Beer. Got my belly out to here. Beer. I could not refuse it. I could really use it. Beer. Beer. Beer.
All right, take it away.
All right, so I was looking for something a little different. I was in Whole Foods, and I'm like a little kid going, ooh, sparkly. I saw a Dogfish Head reddish label, and I picked it up, and it's called Crimson Crew. It's the most interesting label. I think I sent you a link to it. You might be looking at the picture. And it's called a Cross-Atlantic Collaboration. And I knew nothing about it except that there was going to be it was a red ale. And I love red ales. But this one, oh my, it's, I'm just going to read it because deep copper in color, Crimson Crew begins with Rodenbach's world-renowned Grand Cru, a Flemish red-brown ale aged in oak casks that made the overseas trek from Belgium to Delaware, by the way, that's where Dogfish Head is, via tanker ship. After its cross-Atlantic journey, Rodenbach's Grand Cru is artfully blended with an off-centered red ale we infused with sumac and sweet orange peel that was then dry hopped with Hallertau Blanc hops. The resulting beer is a full-bodied and slightly warming with aromas of candied citrus, cherry, caramel, toffee, complemented by malty flavors of stewed fruits, plum, cherry, dried citrus, and toffee. And it is fabulous. Now, but the one thing about it, like I was taking a leap of faith. It's $14 plus for the 6-pack.
Okay.
So that's a leap of faith. It's 7.1% alcohol, and it's
Okay.
really good. It's kind of like this, I don't know, sophisticated, little bit of sourish red ale. I thought it was just great, and I recommend it to anybody. I don't know where else it's available in Baton Rouge. Like I said, I picked it up at Whole Foods. But Dogfish Head, and if you're a Dogfish Head fan, you know you just can't go wrong with a Dogfish Head beer. But Crimson Crew, CRU, and oh my, it was fabulous.
What's coming up on Sports Monday?
On Sports 225 this week, as we get closer to the 400th show there, which I put it well over 1,000 between that and the Sports Monday stuff. Wilson Alexander, the sports writer for The Advocate, who does such a great job covering LSU football, among other things.
Dogfish Head was a subject of one of my favorite podcasts, How I Built This. If you're interested, go check that out. Really good episode. Thank you, Lee.
Matt, I'll save you one. Bye.
Please do. Okay, it's After Further Review.
AFR.
Brought to you by Insurance Network of Louisiana. They are the title sponsor of our Tuesday shows all throughout the year. They're online at lainsurance.net, lainsurance.net. Tell you every day, better coverage for less money. That's Insurance Network of Louisiana. It's really easy. And the best part is it's totally free. Seriously, totally free. Not a joke, not a sales pitch, not something where you get them in on the hook, and then there's a lot of fine print. Nope, totally free. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana. They shop independently for free to find you better coverage for less money. Listener named Doug had been with Liberty Mutual, saved him over $1,000 annually on his auto insurance. 293-0450, 293-0450, or lainsurance.net. They shop independently for free to see if they can find you better coverage for less money. So stop overpaying to be underinsured. Call Insurance Network of Louisiana, 293-0450.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
To support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast office products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
Service Mastery Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact Service Mastery Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. Service Mastery Elite, the trusted choice in professional.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Sean Payton went on Tom Brady's podcast and talked about his future plans. We're going to get to that in just a quick second. There is some breaking news from the world of college football, and it does impact the Southeastern Conference, and in particular, the SEC West. Matt Zenitz of On3, among others, reporting Barry Odom is expected to be hired as the next head football coach at UNLV. Barry Odom had been also rumored to be in the mix for the job at Tulsa, but it looks like he's going to land that job out in Las Vegas. So, yesterday we talked about that, where there was a report that Chris Peterson and Ed Ogeron were among the finalists for that job, which both are comical for opposite reasons. Why in the world would Chris Peterson leave television when he had the University of Washington job to get back in and take the UNLV job? And why would anybody hire Ed Ogeron to be head coach again? But maybe if UNLV wanted to do that, they could. Barry Odom, of course, had a stint there at Missouri as the head coach replacing Gary Pinkel. He was the DC under Pinkel, was elevated to head coach. Didn't work out. He got canned. He goes to Arkansas, where he was a very good defensive coordinator. Now it looks like he'll be out there. And I'll tell you, the reason I think that that's very interesting is Sam Pittman, and I will tell you this, I think we might have shared this last week, that that Hugh Freeze at Auburn is targeting some SEC defensive coordinators or coordinators for the positions there at Auburn. And one of the offensive coordinators I've been told that will be in the running or that they would like to target is Kendall Briles at Arkansas. Well, Barry Odom leaving Arkansas for UNLV reportedly, and if Kendall Briles does jump at this point, that leaves Sam Pittman in a very precarious spot, because ultimately, if you're going to go to the model where you have the CEO head coach that's just going to hire great coordinators and delegate, right? Be the recruiter, the figurehead, all that stuff, and recruit great coordinators and delegate. You got to be able to hire good coordinators consistently, because you're going to lose them. And that's what Ed Orgeron couldn't do. He inherited Dave Aranda. His first coordinator hire was Matt Canada. Hired him without ever interviewing him. Or one conversation with him, hired him, wanted to fire him, midway through September in his first season. And we saw him go down that road. Ultimately elevated Steve Ensminger, who he never would have hired on his own, but was already on staff because Les Miles had hired him. But once he had to replace Steve Ensminger, you saw when Ed Orgeron had to go outside of the LSU program that had already been established, he fell on his face. Same with the defensive coordinator hires. It was Bo Pelini. It was Durante Jones. It was bad. So now Sam Pittman's looking at that as well. He hired Barry Odom. He hired Kendall Briles. If you lose both those guys, what do? You were 6-6 this year. You're getting KJ Jefferson back next year. Heisman candidate, KJ Jefferson. Should I go double or nothing, by the way, with Bertuccini on that one?
Absolutely. So? Get 2 meals out of it.
I'll go double or nothing with him. For those that don't know, Josh Bertuccini from the Red Zone up in 92.1 up in Fayetteville bet me that he said KJ Jefferson will be a Heisman finalist this year. Oh, since the Heisman finalists are announced, I gotta collect on this now.
Well, or what are you going double or nothing though? And will he go double or nothing? I mean, he took a bad L, man. That's a bad L that he took this year. Like, you really gonna double down if you're him?
Oh, he will.
Okay. Then I say you wait. Don't cash in yet. Go double or nothing, because KJ Jefferson's not going to be a Heisman finalist next year.
Of course not.
No.
So anyway, our bet was, he said Jefferson would be a Heisman finalist, and if he was, that I had to pay for the trip to New York. Hotel, flight, all that stuff. If Jefferson wasn't a Heisman finalist, then Bertuccini owes me a nice dinner, and believe me, I'm not a cheap date. Like, I will buy the most expensive steak on the menu. I will buy the most expensive bottle of wine. I will drink the most expensive whiskey, apps, dessert, all of it. It'll be like a 10,000 calorie meal. Don't care. It will not be.
Sounds fantastic.
It will not be cheap. So anyway, he owes me one already now. Maybe we'll call him next hour. Maybe we'll cold call him and see if he'll go double or nothing.
Okay.
All right, we'll cold call him next hour. Or should we do that now? I got to do the Sean.
I was going to say.
Yeah, I'm getting a little off. I'm getting a little off schedule here, huh? All right, we're brought to you by Relief Windows, reliefwindows.com. 288-8130. This actually would have been the perfect time to do the DraftKings promo. Read. Talking about betting, Heisman odds, all that sort of stuff. You know what? Let me do that. I'll come back and do the Relief Windows one. I'll do DraftKings right now. Official sports betting partner of the NBA. But, man, you want to go make that Heisman bet, you can do it right now at the DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app. You know what to do. Use the promo code Baton Rouge. New customers make a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA game. $5 moneyline bet on any NBA game. If you hit, they'll give you $150 in free bets. But you got to use the promo code Baton Rouge. Any customer, new or existing, stepped up same game parlays. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. You got to opt in and use the promo code Baton Rouge. Again, use the promo code Baton Rouge. That's at the DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the promo code Baton Rouge. 21 and older, physically present in Louisiana. Select parishes only. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus issued as free bets. Eligibility and terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/basketball terms. Licensee partner Gold Nugget Lake Charles. Gambling problem. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-426-2537. I think they screwed up, Muse. I think the DraftKings people screwed up.
Why?
So they send us for those that don't know, we do those reads. And DraftKings obviously has specific promos that they want running different times a year in different weeks. So we get a lot of copy from them. But the disclaimer has to run every time. That legally has to run. But it's always been 1-877-770-STOP.
Yeah.
That's the number in Louisiana. I think when they were right, because they have copy, obviously, for every state. And in different states, the gambling problem number is a different number. I think they gave us the number for the wrong state.
Oh.
Let me see what is, because I think they just wrote it wrong in that copy. It was 1-800-GAMBLER, right?
Yep, 1-800-GAMBLER.
1-800-GAMBLER. I don't know if it says what state.
I didn't know they had different numbers. I thought it was just like a national thing.
The Louisiana Department of Health, when you have a gambler problem, is 1-877-770-STOP, which is 7867. The national hotline is 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay.
Gambler.
The
national hotline is 1-800-GAMBLER.
I thought it was just national for all of them.
Mm-mm.
I didn't know they had ones for states.
States have individual.
That's interesting.
Yeah. 1-800-GAMBLER is the national hotline. Okay. Either way, I guess it works. Okay. Okay. Look. Okay, we're going to break real quick, come back. We'll do around the SEC. And in the next segment, like before the top of the hour, right before we do Tigers and the Pros, I said around the SEC. Before we do Tigers and the Pros, I'm going to play the Sean Payton audio for you from Tom Brady's podcast where he talked about his plans for next year. We'll do that literally right when we come back from this break.
AFR.
Brought to you by Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com. Go to Rouse's.com or download the Rouse's app. Remember, you can put the personal shopper to work for you. Download the Rouse's app, select your items. Your personal shopper will go pick them out for you. You pull up into the designated space. They'll bring them out to the car. Hey, look, it's a great time of year. Holiday parties and the like. If you need those that food for the holidays, holiday dinners, leave the fuss to us at Rouse's. Hey, look, even they have a really cool leftovers guide. If you have all these leftovers, want to know what to do with them, meals to prepare, all the stuff, they got it for you at Rouse's.com. Go to the website. Maybe you just need dinner plans tonight. You don't feel like cooking. They have prepared, hot and ready meals, grab and go for the whole family at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. All of your libations, adult beverages as well, a great selection of craft beers and all your bourbons. They've got it at Rouse's, the official supermarket of the New Orleans Saints. Rouse's.com, Rouse's.com.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust Poll of the Day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, anytime. Hunt and Hill. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the Poll of the Day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
Okay, before we go to Tigers and the Pros, I told you I was going to play this, so I'm not going to waste any time. Sean Payton was on the Let's Go podcast. That's Tom Brady's podcast. And they were talking about his future, and it sure sounds like it's pointing even more and more and more likely that Sean Payton's going to be coaching next year.
I think sooner than later. I really enjoy the current job I have, but I think relative to coaching, though, I know that I want to coach again, and it's not really been a secret, but I want to find the right spot, and as Tom alluded to, it's still about the people. So we'll kind of see what happens, but sooner than later, though, Jim, in fairness to that question, I think that, if not this year, hopefully next year.
If not this year, hopefully next year. For Saints fans, certainly hoping that it'll be this year, meaning this cycle, because the Saints are going to be compensated. And the closer Sean Payton gets to his term in New Orleans expiring, where the New Orleans Saints have his rights, his relative value decreases. So you would love for there to be a robust market for Sean Payton this year, where someone feels the earnest need to move now to get a deal done with Sean Payton and not wait another year. So all that could be a big part of the New Orleans Saints' likely tear-down rebuild, which is coming after the season. Okay, Muso. Tigers in the Pros.
Tigers in the Pros. They still bleed purple and gold. They're just really rich now. Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, where Baton Rouge gets engaged.
We'll start with Monday Night Football because there's a heavy LSU presence in that game. Jarvis Landry last night was targeted 3 times, caught 2 for 14 yards, a long of 8. Also for the New Orleans Saints, Tyrann Mathieu, productive night defensively. 5 total tackles on the night, including 5, all 5 solo, 1 pass defense for New Orleans as well. On the other side, Leonard Fournette totaled 81 yards from scrimmage, 49 of them on the ground, 32 of them in receiving, off of 6 catches, 10 carries. Did not find the end zone in that one. And Devin White, a bit of a quiet night by his standards. 5 total tackles, 3 of them solo for the Buccaneers. Update on Odell Beckham Jr. as he looks for a new team. Obviously, the 3 who had been rumored, the Dallas Cowboys, the New York Giants, and the Buffalo Bills. Odell just had a visit with those Cowboys. Ended up going to a Mavericks game Monday with Trayvon Diggs, Micah Parsons, had a physical. Jerry Jones this morning on 1053, the Fan in Dallas, was non-committal. And apparently now the Cowboys have concerns about Odell Beckham Jr.'s physical. Maybe the torn ACL has not progressed enough for him to play this season. And in that interview on 1053, the Fan, Jerry Jones said it was, quote, paramount to a deal possibly being done that Odell is able to play this season. So we'll keep you posted there. Finally, NBA last night, the Houston Rockets, 132-123 winners over the Sixers. Big night for Tari Easton off the bench, 21 minutes, 18 points, 1 shy of tying his career high. Did have 3 steals and 6 rebounds. Shot a blistering 7 of 11 from the field. That is Tigers in the Pros.
Presented by Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry, lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com. Gentlemen, thrill her with a gift in the little red box this holiday season. Underneath the Christmas tree, make it a gift from Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. lmfj.com. That's lmfj.com. Great selection of engagement rings. Well, you get a beautiful diamond, and you'll always get the Lee Michaels experience. Lee Michaels Fine Jewelry. All right, hour number 3, Sean Salisbury kicking it off next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by Shawbills Tire and Auto Service, ShawBillsTire.com. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. That's Shawbills and ShawBillsTire.com. With 17 locations, so you can go to the website and find the location nearest you. Hey, look, the holiday season's almost here. A lot of people are traveling. Got a buddy of mine coming in town from Austin, Texas this weekend with his family. It's that time of year. Before you get on the road, make sure your vehicle's in tip-top shape. Make sure that you've changed the oil. Make sure you've rotated the tires. If you haven't done that, can't remember the last time you did it, bring it to Shawbills. Bumper-to-bumper auto service, name brand tires at wholesale prices. Remember, if you need new tires, no one is going to sell you the best tires on the road at cheaper prices than Shawbills. Go to the website. You can always hit the promotions tab and see their promotions they have going on. Like right now, they've got their 25 days of Christmas savings promotion. You can learn about all that right now at ShawBillsTire.com. ShawBillsTire.com. Shawbills, where we keep you rolling.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Bayou Ford has the new inventory to get you in a new Ford truck or SUV today, or customize your next vehicle just the way you want it. All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
I'm Chris Nakamoto, and here's what I'm working on for my stories on WBRZ Channel 2 tonight. It's been 8 months since a pack of juveniles incited a riot at the Baton Rouge Juvenile Detention Facility. Their night of terror left an entire wing of the facility damaged. Despite repairs being made, there are now staffing challenges, which limits the amount of bad juveniles the center can take in. We'll tell you what's being done to fix the problem. I'm Chris Nakamoto from WBRZ. Watch more tonight on WBRZ Channel 2.
A third of youth who grow up in foster care are homeless 18 months after aging out of care. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to find safe, permanent homes. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
There's nothing better than tailgating, but it can be a lot of work. So why do it yourself when you don't have to? Let Revelry Sports and Entertainment set up your luxury tailgate on campus. Order what you want and just show up to party. Book your tailgate today at revelryteam.com. Revelry Sports, the official tailgate partner of LSU Athletics.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Two big NFL stories from ESPN's Adam Schefter. 49ers quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo does not need surgery on his broken foot. If rehab goes well, he could return in 7 to 8 weeks. The Rams claim quarterback Baker Mayfield on waivers a day after he was released by Carolina. He could play Thursday night against the Raiders. This move was made with an eye on the future for both sides, says ESPN's Ryan Clark.
The new Matthew Stafford is aging. He's a guy that's been banged up. You get Baker Mayfield in the building. To me, this is a tryout. Are you a fit for us on the field? Can you be a fit for us in the locker room? And now he goes into next year because he's going to be a backup, backing up a Matthew Stafford. And now if you go and play, you have a #1 overall talent.
ESPN's Ed Werder's reporting the Cowboys have concerns after free agent receiver Odell Beckham Jr.'s physical that his recovery from a torn ACL has not progressed enough to ensure that he'd play before mid-January. The Titans fired GM John Robinson 2 days after they were routed by Philadelphia, a game in which receiver A.J. Brown, traded to the Eagles by the Titans this offseason, had 2 touchdowns. Round of 16 World Cup, Portugal defeated Switzerland 6-1 to move on.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your motorcycle, RV, boat, ATV, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Matt Moscona.
I'm very important.
After further review.
Say it one more time.
After further review with Matt Moscona.
And here we go.
ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria. Live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studios.
That's right.
Hour 3, off we go. Welcome aboard. Glad you're with us, AFR. Presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. I'm Matt.
This is Shaq O'Neal, and I hate Matt.
Paul O'Neal.
They're chanting Paul O'Neal's name.
And Mr. Toby Tomplay. All right, we're here. Glad you are as well. 5 o'clock quitting time. Glad you are driving home with us. Been a busy day. Jack Bech and Demarius McGee from LSU have entered the portal. The New Orleans Saints stink, but we already knew that. Blowing improbably a game on Monday Night Football that, for all intents and purposes, mathematically ends its season now. Sean Salisbury joins us every Tuesday here during football season, and glad to have him now. Sean, we appreciate you. How are you, man?
I'm doing good, buddy. Good to be on with you.
Always our pleasure. I saw a video that you posted on Twitter this morning about Monday Night Football and about the Tom Brady comeback. And look, it's undeniable. He's the greatest of all time. We know that. How much culpability, though, do you put at the feet of the Saints last night?
Oh, I think a lot of it. I think they put it on a platter for him when they had him dead to rights. I'm watching this game, and like the second to the last series before they got rolling, you know, the one where they looked like an interception, but it wasn't. It bounced.
Yep.
The series before, then every time Brady dropped back to pass, he was getting hit. Had no chance. Had to flip a shovel pass out there. I mean, they relentless. And then all of a sudden, you know, I go to the 3rd and 1 call when all you got to do when they got 3 timeouts left, and you decide to throw it on a little slant route, and ball gets knocked down. Now you got to punt it. And instead of handing it off and making them use a timeout or letting a little more time run off the clock, you don't give that guy time. And then you punt it, and then you go down, and the interception's not there. And then all of a sudden they hit, I think it was Godwin on a crosser, and he got the first down, and then it started downhill. And what happens is if you're going to zone him up or if you blitz him and don't get to him, and their offensive line started to pick it up the last 3.5 minutes. Because in truth, Matty, I was getting so bored watching the game for the Buccaneers. Like, I'm seeing this. Where's the committee? They're throwing 50-plus times. It's now starting the inside 5 minutes. How's Tom going to pull this off if he does? And all the Saints got to do is play smart and get a couple first downs and make a few plays. And Todd Bowles trusts the defense. And another turning point is when Brady wanted to stay in on 4th and long when it was backed up, and they did a double take, forced him to punt. Bowles trusted his defense, and they got stops, and they could not convert. I think a lot of it falls on the Saints. You know, we're at a time when you go with what got you there, Not that anything's got him there this year, but in a game. And then you just can't allow guys to get into lanes, and the ball's always coming out quick. So if you're going to blitz him, you better get to him because the ball comes out quick. And if you're going to play zone, then you can't leave him any window, because when the temperature of a game goes up with him, Matt, I truly believe this, and this isn't hyperbole for me. I know he's 45, but if we took inside that wristband he wears and stuck one of those, like a pulse monitor or heart rate monitor, which I guess we could do. I don't know why we never have, and it's something that could measure his pulse and his blood pressure. That wasn't invasive. I will bet you, as I'm sitting here now, that in the middle of the second quarter or the middle of the first quarter, his blood pressure and pulse rate's moving faster on Brady than it is when he's down 17-3 and he's driving to win a game. I'll bet you. I think the great ones have something different that a lot of us just can't do, to slow everything down while everybody's in chaos. And the Saints were floundering around in chaos offensively and defensively at the end, played it not to lose, and gave Brady too many chances. Eventually he's going to get you, even though the team has played very average this year. They've got weapons, and if you don't get to him and you leave small lanes, you might as well forget it. And a couple plays in it, and in particular, like I said, I would not. I'm an aggressive guy. I would have handed the ball off and at least killed clock, tried to play downhill football and hold it for 4 more downs that way. I would not have thrown it on 3rd and 1. I thought it was a mistake, and the Saints have beat themselves up a lot this year. They didn't play poorly. They moved the ball some, nothing explosive, but they had a lead. You can't give those up with a Super Bowl caliber defense at the end of a game.
Sean, they threw it on 3rd and 1 to Marquez Callaway, who hadn't played since the Rams game.
Exactly.
I mean,
yeah, not even to mention the target. You know, whether that's Andy Dalton going with a read the wrong way, why you would even put. And I understand trusting your players, but you can't trust them to the point where 12 gets more chances, Matty. You know this, right? And so you get to it, you're not even thinking about that. And if you're the quarterback, you got to be cognizant of a guy trying to, get his way back in, get his feel, and at least give it to somebody who, that's a little more familiar at the time with it going there. And that's whether it's on the quarterback or why you'd call it. Get back to old school, line up in the eye, turn around and hand it to the eye back and get a tight end in the fullback position or full. And there's no secrets down there. It's bring your own blocker. If they get the first down, the game probably is over because they would have been forced to use timeouts, and you don't give Brady the ball. But I've seen the movie before, and I know not 13 down. We've only seen it in the Super Bowl, but you give the guy shots, he's going to get you, and you can't change up defensively. You got to change it up, but you can't stop. You can't play not to lose when you're playing Brady, and he'll get you in. Now they're at 6-6. They're going to win the division because it's piss poor.
Yeah.
But the Saints had a chance to surely disrupt it last night, and they just haven't been able to consistently do it this year.
Sean, Saints have been going into their bye 1 game out of first place with Tampa going to play San Francisco.
That's right. One more game, one more loss in the loss column in Tampa. Now it may change now because of Brock Purdy, but Purdy played well. Their roster's good, and I got news for you. I right now as we sit, I know the Saints are good. I don't know what Byron Leftwich and Todd Bowles and that group's going to do, and Tom, but you sure as hell. Forget the offensive side. We'll deal with that. Brock Purdy's going to have to study, and then Kyle will dial him up. How are you going to dial up points if you can't move the football much this year? How are you dialing up points against the 49er defense? It would have been a golden opportunity, and you're right, and they could have stole a division just merely on schedule alone had they closed last night out.
One more on the Saints, because honestly, Sean, let's be honest. I mean, the Saints at 4-9, they're just not interesting. The only thing that's interesting about this team from now on is if they fire Dennis Allen and move on. So let me just ask you that, like, from a perception standpoint, it's not altogether unprecedented to see a coach dismissed after a year. Do you have a strong feeling what the Saints should do with Dennis Allen? Because that is the conversation here today. Should be
here in Houston. Should be in Denver. Although those are 3 first-year guys.
Yeah.
The other first-year guys seem to be pretty safe. Hell, look what Dan Campbell, who's not a first-year guy, look what he's done to put the Detroit Lions in position to control some destiny and make a playoffs. The way that they had him left for dead after week 3, right?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not and I know this sounds like soft-hearted, and I try to be compassionate. Hard business, and going into it what you get into. I don't like to, get somebody fired, but the truth of the matter is, here's the best way to ask it. Are the Denver Broncos getting better? Your answer is simply no. They're getting worse, Matty, right?
Yeah.
Are the Houston Texans getting better? No, there are 12 games in, and they've gotten worse from the get-go. I don't care what the optics look like with Denver on a one-year guy or the Houston Texans on another one-year head coach. And with Dennis, I like Dennis. Dennis is a good coach. Dennis is a hell of a defensive coordinator when he's just coordinating defenses. But it's been a struggle, and you ask yourself, have the Saints consistently got better this year? And we know the answer. So if it's me and I'm the general manager, I'm not in the feel-good business. If you feel like moving forward that's your guy, then retain him and get on with it and deal with what the PR and the fans are yelling at you and screaming at you and season ticket holders, and go with it. But to me, just like you would a defensive end or an offensive tackle, you have to evaluate a coaching staff every day, every week, just like they do hard on a player. Player's screwing up 3 weeks into the season, or he keeps making the same mistake, you cut him. It sounds hard. You cut him. Or in case last year, Matt Rule getting rid of Joe Brady, we see it all the time.
Yeah.
We see coaches do it all the time. So for me, if you don't feel like moving forward that you're going to maximize the room in the building, I don't give a rat's ass if it's a one-year coach. If you think Dennis is going to get him better, great. But if you don't, or Lovie Smith, or I could care less with the perceptions. You can't fire a guy after 1 year. Well, what's better? Keeping a guy around that we're not going to win with right now, apparently, or getting rid of the guy and starting over fresh and seeing if we can get into a sweepstakes for Dan Quinn or Sean Payton, depending on who you are. So for me, I evaluate just like I would a player. Are you making this better? Are you getting better? What's our future with you, and what's the ceiling? And if I can't find answers that are going upward and they're staying stagnant or going downward, I've got to make a move and replace an empty house everywhere. Yeah. There is no sacred cows, period.
That's certainly not Dennis Allen. Saints are going to have an interesting decision, which many here feel should be easy. Sean, sit tight. We'll come back. I want to ask you, you got to see Deshaun Watson last week in Houston, playing his first game for Cleveland. It was rough, but I want to ask Sean about that. I also want to say, if you missed it today, Baker Mayfield got claimed off of waivers by the Rams. I want to get Sean's thoughts on that as well. Always great to pick his brain when it comes to quarterbacks. And, of course, I will get Sean's thoughts on the SEC championship game, LSU's loss, and then sort of looking ahead to the college football playoff. A couple of segments, as always, here on Tuesdays. Talking football with Sean Salisbury. We're thrilled to have him. He's on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Give him a follow. We'll continue next on AFR.
AFR.
Brought to you by River City's 1 Hour Air, where they're always on time, or you don't pay a dime. 752-0001, 752-0001, 752-0001, or 1hourbr.com. You can spell it out, 1hourbr.com. At River City's 1 Hour Air. Tell you all the time, look for the big yellow vans and trucks with a giant clock on the side. You always see them all over the place because they do great work, and we always love sharing these great 5-star reviews like this one from Kimberly Anderson, which said, Kevin Webb, the technician, was very professional, polite, courteous, and overall pay a dime.
Gulf Coast Bank and Trust is giving our customers the power to bank anywhere, anytime during this challenging event. And we're right there with you. Our mobile banking app is a smart way to manage your money and time. Gulf Coast Bank and Trust, the bank that cares about you.
Miller Lite has more taste and only 1 more calorie than Michelob Ultra.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
All right, let's say ah.
Where's
my spotlight?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along here, joined by Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered. Make sure you follow him on social media so you can get all of his content. Of course, mornings there on Sports Talk 790 in Houston. Speaking of which, Sean, there in Houston, you got to see the return of Deshaun Watson. It's almost like these NFL schedule makers know what they're doing, right? Deshaun Watson's first game eligible to return is there in Houston. It was a rough go, but Cleveland got the win. What'd you think seeing Deshaun in the Browns uniform?
Well, I was convinced that we'd see him sluggish early and that this natural skill set would take over and that it looked like he, may have missed some time, but not 700 days. In truth, it looked like he missed about 750 days. He was not sharp at all. I mean, bouncing balls and the zip off-schedule arm strength wasn't there either. He made a few throws and obviously used his legs, but if you didn't know what had gone on and you say, well, why is he, you would have said, now what a poor performance. But they were able to, do what they do because the Texans find ways to give games away. And when you turn it over twice by the quarterback and they get touchdowns out of it and you give up a home run special teams wise, 21 points, you're not going to win a lot of games. And the Texans aren't good enough to overcome one return for a touchdown, let alone three, whether it's defense or special teams. So, and the crowd, the smattering of some booed, some cheered, why they were there. They can't stand the Texans. They can't stand Deshaun Watson, but they wanted to see how he do on the field. You had about 5 different layers, but it was fine. They did it. The one thing they did do with the Texans is they actually were flying around and they did a good job defensively of not letting Deshaun Watson or Nick Chubb embarrass them in the game. And they hung in there. I don't like to say played hard. They should play hard or they're close. They didn't win. But there were some things defensively that they did well that they haven't done. They tackled better than they have in a while. But Deshaun will get better. But if that's the guy, and real quick, Matty, and I'll ask you this before your next question is, I wonder, because I think Jacoby Brissett won that team over with the way he gutted it out. Now, I know they know who the better talent is, but I think at this stage of the season, I'll bet you in private over a beer, if you polled guys and said, nobody's going to know, did they make the change at the right time? I bet you're going to find guys that say, we should have hung with Brissett a little bit longer this season. They know the talent, but I think they respect what Jacoby Brissett is and knowing what he went through and that he was going to turn it over anyway and to keep competing. I bet you'd find guys on that Cleveland team that felt that way.
It's interesting. I would look. You've been in locker rooms. I haven't. I would trust you far more on just the sentiment there. They're 5-7, and in that division, they're 3 games behind the Ravens and Bengals, which are tied.
Yeah.
So maybe Deshaun gives you a better chance to make a charge, or maybe do you think at this point like you're out of it, you'll just stick with the guy anyway?
Oh yeah, and I think that they want to get some momentum building because we know who's going to start 2023.
Yeah,
I mean, you're paying them all that money, of course, and I don't think they wanted to go because then we'd be pushing. Think how much with 2.5 years. I mean, how long? I mean, 700 days, add 300 more to it. I mean, we're talking about 1,000 days if you didn't play him.
Yeah,
without competition. So That's too much. I think my only point, and maybe I'm reading into it, but when I think they asked Myles Garrett about how he felt about Deshaun Watson's performance, and he said, "Next question." And I know that we all read into it like, I don't want to talk about Deshaun, or if there's that hint of, I didn't make the decision, ask somebody else, basic. So, yeah, there's no doubt. I know why they're doing it, but in my heart, in those locker rooms, when a guy is there the whole time and is battling for you, there's that sentiment of emotion that says, I'm okay riding with the guy a few more weeks, but they know they're not going to make the playoffs unless they go haywire. The way they played last week offensively, there's no way. But and Cincinnati's getting hot now. Baltimore is going to come back to the pack possibly. But yeah, I think that I think they liked Brissett's fight and that he just minded his own business and did it. But they do know the big picture. Number 4 is going to be their quarterback.
Baker Mayfield was claimed off of waivers by the Rams. Of course, Stafford's had concussion issues there. What do you think about that?
With that, and they got Perkins, a young player, and then the kid from why am I losing my mind? The kid who started last week, Wolford.
Mm-hmm.
I think that it's a chance when people say, "Oh, bring Baker Mayfield," and Baker's had that up and down career. Year 1 and year 3, good. Year 2 and year 4, not good. And now he's out of a job after being the first pick of the draft. So, man, it's amazing. That third year, you thought, think about this, Matt. After the end of the third year, a year ago, we were discussing before the season started, when's Baker getting his $100 million? 4 year goes, he goes to Carolina. He can't beat out Sam Darnold in that group, and he's gone trying to find a team, and he found one of the Rams. What it does is the Rams, maybe you say, well, let me start the guy after he learns a little bit. Now, Sean McVay's got some, extensive offense to learn, so he's going to have to pick it up. But a veteran body that gives you a chance, and if it doesn't work out, you can play him 3 or 4 games to see if he gets hot, because they're not going anywhere either with Stafford. And I wouldn't play Stafford another down there. He's on IR now, but I wouldn't have touched him the last 6 or 7 weeks anyway. And then and see what Baker's got on the cheap, and if he plays great, you want to trade him. Well, then maybe you get something for him. So there's no big risk.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have a problem with it, but I don't think he'd have gone and changed San Francisco. Brock Purdy's a better player than he is right now. So a team that needed a veteran backup that's on the cusp or is completely out of it, their quarterback's hurt, I get why he did it. I'm rooting for the guy to get his career back, but he's got a lot of fixing. And I tell you he needs the walk-on mentality back. He was at his best when he had the swagger of, oh, okay, nobody thinks I can play, and then just keep your mouth closed and go knock people out and play with swagger. But as a first pick, it's kind of got away from him, at least from my angle, and I'm on in Cleveland every week. I root for him to get it back because humble pie is a good thing. And if he plays like he did his third year, somebody down the road may be interested. It just gives them a bargaining chip, maybe, and it gives them a little leeway with the veteran quarterback and see if you can do something with him. Former first pick of the draft, 4 years in, why not?
Sean Salisbury's with us. Hey, I want to stick with quarterbacks, but I want to move it to the college game. On Saturday, we saw LSU really have a tough day, obviously, against Georgia defensively. The Bulldogs put up 50 points. But LSU offensively did something nobody's done. They put up 30, threw for over 500 yards, SEC championship game record. Jaden Daniels, 200 yards passing in the first half. Garrett Nussmeier, 200 yards passing in the second half. This Daniels-Nussmeier conundrum is coming up here a lot. You watched the game, so what did you think of the two and where LSU sits kind of with those two quarterbacks?
I think I like both of them. Well, let me ask you this, and I'll tell you, do you think they can win a national championship with either of them?
Yeah, I do.
I do too. I do too. And the thing with in Nuss's defense, we never get to see him for a long period of time. You know what I mean, Matt?
Sure.
And whether that's whoever's making the decision, we don't get to see him for a sustained 7, 8, 9, 10 games. Say, but I saw some flashes, and even in a game that was out of reach, and they couldn't stop Georgia from running the football. He does some things, and we've talked about his ability to move, and he's a coach's son, and all these things. He's got some skills, and throwing for between the two of them, like you said, a little over 500 yards. Georgia, I don't care that they were blowing him out. That's a pride thing. Georgia doesn't allow that. And then with Jaden, obviously, he gives you one more year of the the feeling of, and he's coming back next year, correct? Do we know this?
He hasn't announced, and so it's kind of interesting, right? Like, because he's got a couple of decisions he can make. He could come back. He could go pro. He could transfer.
Right.
And then Nussmeier could stay, depending on what Jaden does, or he could transfer. And so it's it's really up in the air right now.
As we sit here, you know what I hope, Matty, maybe I'm old school, that they sit and compete and battle it out with each other, because you're more than likely going to need both at some point. Now, that not being said, that notwithstanding, listen, the experience, I believe, I would love to see Jaden come back one more year. And those guys, if Brian says, hey, now that we've got it, we've seen great stuff from both of them, and let's go compete in the spring. Now, the one that loses may say, you know what, I got to go, and he may not want to wait till spring. So we'll see. But I would imagine Jaden has the advantage going in, veteran, a little more experience. But Brian Kelly elevated his play this year. You started to see changeover. And so I think you can win with both. I'm not sure I'd sit there and say automatic, no-brainer, guaranteed, oh, well, you want to transfer. I'd try to talk them both into staying. Now, if Jaden wants to go to the pros, then it clears it for Garrett to be the starter unless somebody comes in and beats him out. I love competition. They both showed me something. I think they both have some things, and we've seen Daniels improve. I want to see Nussmeier for a long period of time. Now, the question is, will we get it here? I don't know.
Yeah.
But I think both of them have – and I think a couple of them, they have different strengths. And I think I watched Jaden's progress all year. And I loved what I saw in a blowout with Nussmeier, and I've liked him. And we talked about it last year. I like some of the things he does. So, and then, they're gonna leave competition, and Brian's going to promote competition. I hope they both stay. I hope they compete. I would like to see if Jaden does compete and win the job. I'd like to see him another year under Brian Kelly's system and see what we're saying at this time next year, because I saw flashes of Heisman Trophy skill set. And I think they just need another year in weapons, and they got to get help in the back end, and they got to, the linemen are going to the portal and get, a linebacker. There's some things that they can upgrade, and the quarterback position, I think, is in pretty deep shape right now.
Sean Salisbury, before you go, with the 4 set, sorry about the Trojans, man.
You know what, Matty, they didn't deserve it. When you get we know how good Caleb is, but when you can't get off the field, and you're going to give that many, and they got, after the 17-3 lead, they got curb stomped, man. They gave up 44 points. So there was no argument. Once they got beat, they didn't deserve to go. Great offense, but until they get physical and get stops, I'm not one bit. They don't deserve to be there. And they played great, a lot of times offensively, and he overcame a lot, did Caleb, because you have to score that many points. But Kyle Whittingham's the most underrated coach in America, and they're always physical. And I told you, they punched him in the face, and they couldn't respond. They got to get better there, even in an 11-2 season.
7-3 or 17-3, man. I had a nice play on the Trojans. So 17-3, I was feeling pretty good, man. I'm like, all right, we go.
You and me both in. The quarterback gets up hobbling, and all of a sudden they go to work. And that the one time when they went for it on fourth, they settled for the one field goal, went for it on 4th and 8, and didn't get it. Gave them field position, and Utah never looked back. You want to talk about a speed race that the other team wasn't in? That was that. Yeah. What else were you going to ask me real quick? I'll make it quick. You asked me before that?
No.
The Heisman people, were you going to ask me?
No, I was going to ask you if anybody can beat Georgia.
Yeah, because the similarities of what you're going to see. Now, listen, if you're saying, Sean, you got $100,000, it's the only money you got, bet it on who? I'm picking Georgia.
Sure.
But there's some weakness. Listen, Michigan can max you physically. They can beat them at their game. The question is, can you make the necessary throws, and can you prevent the dumb turnover? Michigan physically, I don't see. Now, Ohio State's got all the skill set you need, but I don't know. They're physically not good enough at the point of attack. Both of those teams are favored. And while I love Max Duggan, and I love that kid's guts, and I love the story, and they should be in the Final Four, not Alabama. It's not even a question. They should be there. I just don't think physically they're going to be able to keep up. Now, if they get a lead and can spread it out, maybe. But Georgia and Michigan are the two best, and the other two are more finesse, and we're going to see if that finesse can handle physicality somewhere along the playoff.
Okay, before you go, you watched the LSU Georgia game.
Mm-hmm.
There was a play. It was actually ended up being the last play that Jaden Daniels played, where
when he got hurt,
when Jalen Carter sacked him and lifted him up off the ground. Okay,
and didn't slam him down. Yeah, that one.
Sean, you play quarterback. If a defensive lineman is holding you up like a small child, and none of your offensive linemen do a damn thing about it, what kind of conversation are you having?
A big one, and it shouldn't take me to have to do it. A coach, I'm going to leave the names out because I love my teammates. I don't air laundry, but you want to know, and I don't know if it's the case there. Don't misunderstand me either. A case of that the guys up front got to be tougher, or how they feel about the quarterback. I don't know there. I know in the case that I saw on a team I was on in my career, is that you want to know when the players don't care about the quarterback or trust in or whatever, or think he's tough or whatever it is. In that case, it was when he gets hit and is rolling around and not feeling it, and they don't go pick him up. I saw that, and it was a weird message. And then finding out it was just there was a lack of trust there on the toughness and the excuses. And it was not a big deal, but the visual was hard to look at, right? The guy wasn't hurt. It was just, guys will go running and pull people off the pile. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know the relationship with the quarterback there, but it was like, oh, you can do whatever you want. We'll stand back. I know guys that I played with, like Gary Zimmerman, Bruce Matthews, would have, and I saw Bruce Matthews took a player out when I was playing at SC. The guy hit me 4 yards out of bounds late. Corso was the coach at Indiana. Only game Bruce Matthews ever got kicked out of. He took a running start, knocked the guy damn near on the track, right in front of Corso. Because the guy knocked me down late, was taunting me, and I'm telling you, Bruce could fly. Right then and there, I got up. I said, did that hit hurt? But then I said, my teammates love me. I may be, no matter what happens, I know they got my back. And Bruce got kicked out and has never missed a game due to injury or kicked out since. So I felt good about that, but I'm always looking at how the big fellas do it. Now, I don't know if it's the case, so they may love him. I don't know why. But to me, you got to risk at that point taking a seat to protect your guy, to let him know we're not going to sit here and let a great football player hold our guy like he's bear hugging him like it's a child. That's exactly right. I didn't think much about it. Now that you pointed out, yeah, you got to come to the rescue, come hell or high water, and I would imagine somebody will address it. But I think they probably love the quarterback. Maybe they were checked out at the time. I don't know.
I think they were intimidated by Jalen Carter, who's enormous.
Yeah. Oh,
but but Sean, listen, man, and I get it.
Doesn't matter.
I mean, it's hard for me to talk because I never played at that level. But the level that I did play, you were getting ear-holed. Like, that's all. You may kick my ass.
Right.
It may end up very badly for me. I'm not a huge guy, but man.
Yeah, Matt, I'm with you. I know we're keeping. I don't want to keep it too long and cut into your break, but I'm just telling you, I'm with you. You go over there and at least you got to throw. You got to give him a push to the shoulder pad, or you got to ear-hole him. They go back to the days of Wisniewski and Kevin Gogan. You stand around a pile, they're ear-holing. You hit one of their guys late. I've been in huddles where they say, "What was that number?" Mm-hmm. And they take now. I don't want anybody to get hurt, but you do have to send a message, and that's part of their job. Yeah, and Carter's a great player, but forget the intimidation. You just got to – that's one you got to take one for the team, whether it's there or anywhere else. So I don't know how they feel, but I watch it too, and it bothers me because especially when they're beating up on you, there's like a hockey fight. Maybe it'll change the course of the game. Sometimes you just got to do it to show the rest of your team because respect comes in different ways, and you'll get it in a great way when you go there and defend your player. Yeah. And, oh, by the way, Carter's pretty – I'm hosting the Lombardi Awards tomorrow night. He'll be there along with Bowers and Tuia Pelotu from SC and Anderson from Alabama. So I can imagine standing next to him how big they're going to be, but I'm honored to do it. So, yeah, you got to protect your quarterback come hell or high water.
Sean Salisbury on Twitter at Sean Unfiltered with us here every Tuesday in hour number 3. You're the best, man. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right, brother. Thank you.
All right, be well. That's Sean Salisbury. I even asked Hester about that. I say, man, look, like, and he gave me this look, like Jake will do, and he's like, "Oh, you're wearing it," sort of thing. Like, there's just that thing that's unspoken that guys do in huddles. Man, that just it irks me. And Georgia fans love the play. That picture of Jalen Carter holding up Jaden Daniels with one hand in the air, that's becoming like iconic among Georgia people. Like they want paintings of it and all. I'm like, oh. Bro, Garrett Dellinger and Charles Turner just sitting there watching that happen. Ugh. Like it. I'm having a physical reaction just thinking about it right now. All right, I got to go. It's AFR.
AFR.
Get Gordon and get it done. Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. If you've been injured in an accident, you know what to do. Do what thousands of Louisianians have done for more than 30 years. Get Gordon and get it done. Experienced lawyers in Louisiana. They can handle a variety of personal injury cases. It's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. But obviously, with Gordon, we talk about the great staff of attorneys that can help you in your personal injury case, but also so many ways that Gordon gives back. They are about to wrap up the 500 bikes for the holidays promotion. The deadline to enter was yesterday. Can't wait to share some of the stories about some of the kids around Louisiana who are going to get bikes this Christmas season thanks to Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. Get Gordon and get it done. You can always learn about the charitable arm of what Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys does. You can go to GordonGives.com. That's GordonGives.com. And, of course, so heavy in the NIL space. The Gordfather of NIL. That's Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys. You know what to do. Get Gordon and get it done.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
It's no secret, the best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Louisiana. It's a place defined by culture, by pride, by passion, by people who do more than love this place. They celebrate it, elevate it, champion it. They are the individuals who embody what makes Louisiana great. The companies that make Louisiana a better place to work and live. The nonprofits leading transformational change in our communities. Champions of Louisiana are all around us, and LWCC is proud to celebrate them because we've always been Louisiana loyal, supporting the workers, the innovators, the change agents of this great place we call home. Who are the champions around you? Together, we can share their stories. Together, we can help our home state thrive. Together, we are Louisiana loyal. Always.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice?
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana, call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
All right, rolling along. We appreciate Sean Salisbury. Man, if you miss anything, AFR On Demand presented by Breck Golf. Book your tee time, golf.breck.org, golf.breck.org. Opened up talking about the Saints choking away Monday Night Football. Dennis Allen era is going to be over. It just has to be. I don't know how the Saints organization can justify at this point retaining Dennis Allen. I think Sean said it best. You're not getting better. And so much of that is expectation. I invited Larry Holder onto the show today, and he couldn't make it work schedule-wise, but we're going to do it maybe tomorrow or certainly someday this week. But Larry tweeted last night. I'm going to try to find the exact tweet because I don't want to misspeak or misquote it. But he was not excusing Dennis Allen this year, but essentially saying it's not just Dennis Allen. And the point that that I made in reply, God dog it, I'm sorry. I really want to find the tweet exactly so I'm not misspeaking. But the bottom line is this. The situation Dennis Allen inherited wasn't a bad one. This team was one that some were projecting to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl. This is a team that we were all very excited about, considering they went and got Jarvis and Tyron in the offseason, and they drafted Chris Olave, and we felt like they had maintained a lot of the structure intentionally, and they were 9-8 a year ago, and you're thinking, yeah, man, they could build off of that. And here was the tweet from Larry. Here it is. I found it. He said, and this was last night, Larry tweeted, I'm not defending Dennis Allen. Obviously, he's been rough this year. That said, tell me where the Saints roster has been good this year and how it will get better. Okay, to which I replied, I watched a more injured roster with worse quarterback play go 9-8 last year. The difference is you have a substitute teacher in front of the class. So, and then Larry replied and basically said the offensive line has been more stable this year. Kamara's been non-existent. So hold on. First of all, every starter on the offensive line a year ago, except for Cesar Ruiz, who was your worst starter on the offensive line, missed time last year. All of them. Ramczyk missed half the season. Teron Armstead missed 5-6 games. McCoy missed time. Andres Pete missed time. Most of the season, as a matter of fact. So you had a makeshift offensive line a year ago as well. And if you want to look at Kamara's reduced production, I'm going to look specifically at Pete Carmichael. The fact that Sean Payton's no longer there pulling the strings offensively. And that's the point that I'm going to make, though, is he inherited a situation where the expectation was higher and you've seen it erode. A great contrast is look at Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell went to Detroit, which is a historically awful franchise. They've never been to a Super Bowl. He got hired into a terrible situation, and last year they were brutal. They were brutal in his first year. But he kept believing, kept plugging away, but he had inherited a terrible situation. And so, a year ago, they finished 3-13-1 in his first year. 3-13-1. Just kept believing, kept plugging away. And now all of a sudden, it feels like they've turned a corner. It was a rough start to this year as well. They started 1-6. But now they've won 4 of their last 5. They've turned the corner. So you look at Detroit at 5-7 and you go, man, I'm optimistic about that. They're going in the right direction at 5-7. The Saints at 4-9 suck. It's spiraling. So it's based on what you inherited and what the expectation was. Dennis Allen inherited a good situation, a roster that won 9 games a year ago, that made free agent moves, that added a first-rounder at wide receiver. You added Jarvis Landry. You were getting Michael Thomas back healthy. You are undeniably better at quarterback this year with Winston Dalton than you were a year ago with whatever combination of Jameis getting hurt than Trevor Siemian and Ian Book. You were better. And you've eroded. That's coaching. Dennis Allen can't run this organization. He got to go. It's not getting better. So whenever the Saints fire Dennis Allen, it's more a subject of someone coming in knowing what they're inheriting. They're inheriting a roster that's really old in spots. You don't have a first-round pick this year. You don't have a franchise quarterback. So guess what next year is going to happen? You're going to have reduced expectations. You're not going to go into next season expecting the Saints to be a playoff team. We're going to go into next season saying, let's see progress. Maybe they draft a quarterback. Let's see them develop and grow and have reason to believe the arrow's pointing up again. That ain't the case right now. And Dennis Allen's not going to fix that. So bring in someone that you're going to give time to get that right. You purge some of these bad contracts. You acquire draft capital and assets again so you can start rebuilding your roster. Try to hit on some of these draft picks again like you did in 2017 where you rebuild your roster through the draft and young talent and start that pack back up. But it ain't going to happen with Dennis Allen. He inherited a better situation a year ago when he was hired than they have right now. They're worse now than they were when he was hired. There's no reason to believe that he's going to get the trampoline effect and bounce it back up. As a head coach, I told you the number earlier. In his career as a head coach, Dennis Allen is 12-37. He's not a winner. Great defensive mind. Great defensive coordinator. Good guy, good man, good person. Bad head football coach in the NFL. All right. We're going to get to Auto Locks. We're brought to you by GMFS Mortgage, gmfsmortgage.com. Changing lives since 1999. Home buy, refi, construction loans, you know the drill. It's GMFS Mortgage and GMFSmortgage.com. They're the best. If you're thinking about buying a home, you're tired of renting, you want to build equity, build wealth, GMFS Mortgage can help. Maybe you don't have enough money for a down payment. No worries. There's so many loan products that they have at GMFS Mortgage. Let them help you. Their loan officers have seen it all. Nobody's case is unique. I mean, they've seen it all. So let them hold your hand. You walk you through that process. GMFSmortgage.com. GMFS Mortgage, changing lives. A little transfer portal news today. Oh, do you have our portal sounder there, Muse? Transfer portal news today. Transfer portal news. There it is. You probably heard today that Jack Bech has entered the transfer portal, the LSU sophomore wide receiver. And this word kind of started percolating a bit last week, so not altogether surprising. It was sort of expected that Jack was going to jump into the portal. So he made that announcement today, a day after Kayshon Boutte announced that he's returning to LSU for his senior season. Obviously, another reason why we figured Jack would find targets hard to come by. Considering he slipped down the depth chart this year, and then to have Kayshon return, and then the recruits coming in like Shelton Sampson, understandable why he would look for maybe a new start somewhere else. And then Demarius McGee also entered the transfer portal today. Demarius McGee, he and Radarius Jones were the only returning cornerbacks from the team a year ago. And McGee made the announcement today, or it's been reported today, that Demarius McGee is entering the transfer portal. So McGee and Radarius Jones really didn't play this season, so understandable. The Tigers are going to have to go hit the portal for cornerbacks again this offseason, because you're going to need guys with starting caliber players, or hope you land on some of those five-star recruits who may be able to come in as freshmen and be starters for you on the outside. So a lot of work for Brian Kelly and the staff to do at certain spots as they start to rebuild the roster or build the roster for year two of the Brian Kelly era. All right, it is after further review. We'll knock out our final break, come back, do a little Otter Locks. Otter was 2-0 yesterday. See what he does for an encore. That's next. It's AFR.
AFR.
Tuesday, great night to get by Pluckers. Kids eat free every single Tuesday at both Pluckers locations. Need to get out of the house and do something affordably? Get by Pluckers. For the adults, buy your entrees. Kids eat free every Tuesday at both Pluckers locations. Nicholson, just south of campus, or Bluebonnet, right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. Maybe it's a great option tonight, guys. Get the whole family together. Go to the mall location right there in Bluebonnet. Give your wife the credit card. Say, go do some Christmas shopping. Kids and I, we're going to Pluckers right there in front of the mall. And, of course, the kids will eat free. Nicholson, just south of campus, and Bluebonnet right in front of the Mall of Louisiana. 28 flavors of award-winning jumbo chicken wings, ice-cold draft beer, full-service bar, and sports on TV every night of the week. Of course, full slate of NBA games. Bowl season is right around the corner as well. There's always something going on. Of course, if you love the World Cup, that continues to advance. You can watch it all at Pluckers. Either location, Nicholson, Bluebonnet, dine-in, carry-out, or delivery. Sports trivia tonight at 8:30 at the Nicholson location. It's Pluckers. If you like our wings, we'll give you the bird.
Want more customers? Running Boards Marketing can help you get their attention. Imagine your brand's message on a giant LED billboard truck that can't be skipped and is nearly impossible to ignore. Running Boards Marketing is the leader in effective and affordable advertising on digital mobile billboards, which are 2 times more effective than traditional billboards. With a 97% recall rate, you'll leave a lasting impression with your customers. Visit us online at runningboardsmarketing.com so we can drive your message to where the people are.
Nearly half of children in foster care drop out of school. But you can rewrite that story. Children and youth with CASA and GAL volunteers are more likely to succeed in school. Change a child's story. Become a volunteer today.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded. because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Crime has serious consequences, but anyone can make a mistake. If you find yourself in trouble with the law, know that you have rights, and it's okay to demand them. The law offices of O.C. Brown are here to protect you and your rights. Felony or misdemeanor, DUI or drug charge. No matter what crime you're accused of, you still have rights. Let the law offices of O.C. Brown uphold them. Call 225-343-1111. Your law firm for a lifetime.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs.
After further review with Matt Moscona, presented by Insurance Network of Louisiana. Call for a free quote to see how much you can save. 293-0450. After further review with Matt Moscona, ESPN Baton Rouge, New Orleans, Alexandria.
We lost all those games. Excuse me, Hunt the Good Egg. And you lost all those games. You lost 6 in a row. I mean, you left the team. You left a team that's playing for the SEC championship in a week to join a team that's 4-7.
Oh, man. The video of Hunt the Good Egg screwed up on my feet in the break. And I fell down that rabbit hole again.
We get in the stadium and scream like this. And then we get our butts kicked the next day.
Just play Otters Open.
Otter Locks, presented by Lofton Staffing Services. At Lofton, we put people to work.
Man.
Call us today at 924-0200 or go to lofton.jobs.
You deserve that laugh. It's been a rough one. You deserve that laugh.
This has been a crappy show. I mean, it's great content. We got it's just all been negative. The Saints stink. Jack Bech hit the portal. I want to fire Dennis Allen. Had a crap on Mark Ingram again. Anyway, Otter, how are you?
It was pretty rocking chair Saints and under last night.
Congrats,
so.
2-0 for the Otter last night. Had the
That's
under
something
and the
positive.
Saints plus 3.5. We talked about it. We gave you some dings earlier. We threw some bouquets your way.
Well, I mean, it was. How about Brady in the interview after? It was his little girl's birthday party. So he said, "Hey, this is for you." Da 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 da. And she goes, when I was leaving, she goes, "Who are we playing, Dad?" She goes, "The Saints." She goes, "Oh no!"
Oh, no.
Like even Brady's daughter knows that and we just gave it away. I mean, but can we just at least just closure? No more tease, no more dangling the carrot, no more Lucy with the football.
Yeah.
With Charlie Brown. Hanny loves that little thing, by the way. So but anyway. Under, man. It was the way to go last night. So one man's trash is another man's treasure. We got 3 tonight in college hoops.
All right, let's
We're
do
going
it.
to the Jimmy B Classic in Madison Square Garden. Texas, number 2 in the country in the rankings, number 2 in the
minute remaining.
power ratings. Okay, -3.5, Fights to -3. Texas -3 against Illinois at Madison Square Garden. Nightcap in that doubleheader, Duke and Iowa. Duke -2. Now there's 2s and 2.5. If it's 2.5, buy it to 2 against Iowa. Then in the Big Ten, Maryland, hard-fought victory at home against Illinois. of all people. And, well, they're playing good, but they got to go on the road here to Madison, Wisconsin. We're going to take the Badgers at home -2. Texas, Duke, and Wisconsin.
Texas, and remember, by the half point. Texas -3, Duke -2, Wisconsin -2. Otter, where are you?
Mike Anderson Seafood.
All right.
Home of the Burnside salad.
I thought it was a Nicholson salad.
That's right. It's the Mark Ingram salad. Come on by. It's all positive Tuesday.
It's gonna fumble and run out of bounds. Thank you, Otter.
Yeah.
All right. Muse, Paulie, thanks. See ya.
AFR.
All right, as we get on down the road, remind you about Mold Zero USA, mold-0usa.com. Y'all, mold is dangerous. Do not fool around. But more importantly, don't go cutting sheetrock and doing a lot of demo work if you have mold. Just call Mold Zero. Jim Woodworth and the gang at Mold Zero, they got a better way to do it. It's a patented, non-toxic, dry fog. Jim's a veteran, Air Force veteran. Guy's one of the most interesting men that you'll ever speak to in your life. He's also one of the most ethical people you'll ever see. He's going to do right by you. Mold Zero USA. Mold-0usa.com. They'll come in. They'll spray that patented, non-toxic dry fog. It'll give into every nook and cranny. It'll kill mold. It'll kill other pathogens. It'll eliminate odor as well. And as soon as that fog dissipates, a couple hours, you're back in your house in a clean-smelling, mold-free home. Mold-0usa.com. Greater Baton Rouge and Greater New Orleans online. Mold-0usa.com.
Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram has $11,000 off MSRP plus 2.9% for 72 months on all new 2022 Ram Black Widow trucks in stock. All new Bayou vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty and free delivery. If you need sales or service, the crew at Bayou is going to do right by you.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.